Kyiv today. This morning, an apartment building was hit in the northern part of the city, killing 2 civilians there and injuring 12 others.
Fox's Trey Yankton, Kyiv. Many other cities also bombarded again the day after an airstrike near the border with Poland killed 35 people. An American journalist shot dead in Irpin near Kyiv. Brett Renault, the friend who was with him at the time, says,
"We crossed a checkpoint and they start shooting at us. So the driver turned around and they kept shooting."
Now, there's an attempt at talks again today between Ukraine and Russia, which is reportedly turning to China for help. Fox's Simon Owen following this live.
Dave, White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan is meeting today in Italy with China's top diplomat. And ahead of those talks, a U.S. official says Russia has asked China for military equipment to use in Ukraine. The Chinese government is dismissing that suggestion as disinformation. The U.S. is also warning China against helping Russia evade global sanctions that are hitting the Russian economy hard. The Biden administration says there would be consequences if that happens. Dave.
And Simon, the invasion and those sanctions fueled a gas price surge, but it's leveled off the last few days. AAA's national average for regular remains about $4.32 a gallon. In New York City,
police think they may have a serial shooter on the streets, as another homeless man was found gunned down in Lower Manhattan over the weekend. It follows 2 similar shootings of homeless people, one of them fatal, early Saturday morning by a masked gunman dressed in all black.
Fox's Sal Giangrasso. This is similar to Washington, D.C., where 3 homeless men were attacked earlier this month and 1 died. An Academy Award-winning actor has died, William Hurt.
You keep coming after me and then looking down on me. It's starting to drive me batty.
That was Hurt in broadcast news. He won an Oscar for his role in Kiss of the Spider Woman. He was 71. America's listening to Fox News.
Run, walk, honor. The Tunnel to Towers 5K Run and Walk in New York City retraces FDNY firefighter Steven Siller's final footsteps on 9/11. That single event has inspired more than 70 runs, walks, and climbs in different cities across the nation each year. Register for an event in your area or volunteer to start one. Do good and never forget by donating $11 a month at T2T.org. That's T2T.org.
Is your current home loan the right fit for you? Near historically low rates combined with rising home values means that you could have more home equity than you might imagine. And if you're considering a refi, an expertly chosen loan from Loan Depot could save you thousands. Ask about our smart term loans, cash out, and over 300 loan options to find just the right mortgage loan for you. Call now, 866-888-LOAN, or go to loandepot.com. Loan Depot, where home means everything. Rates are subject to change. Equal housing opportunity lender. NMLS number 174457. Licensed in all 50 states.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 6:03. Right now it's 45 degrees in Columbia, much warmer than what we have been experiencing. Our high today will be about 65. Slight chance of rain tonight, a low near 45. Tomorrow, another gorgeous day on your Tuesday. Sunshine and a high of 65. Will be up to 70 on Wednesday. Good morning, everyone. Here's some of the stories we are working on for you on this Monday morning. A 22-year-old man is hospitalized this morning with a gunshot wound after being shot by an apparent burglar early Sunday in the 1300 block of Godis Drive. That's in Northeast Columbia near Clark Lane. ABC 17's Ben Fine reports no arrests have been made.
It did look like they were searching for someone here at this house. As I said, they were using police dogs searching around this area and kind of this street for what it appeared to be a suspect.
ABC 17's Ben Fine reporting from the scene yesterday on, again, Godis Drive. Fine also saw police officers searching the area with flashlights. Columbia police don't have a suspect description. Anyone with information is asked to call Crime Stoppers 573-875-TIPS. Meantime, a weekend blaze causing extensive damage to a home in southwest Columbia. Firefighters say the blaze happened early Sunday morning in the 4600 block of Royal Lytham Drive. That's west of Forum. Firefighters say that heavy smoke and fire was there when they arrived at about 12:35 Sunday. 10 CFD crews responding to the scene. No reports of injuries. Construction continues on the $232 million new Children's Hospital and Tower project in Columbia. MU Healthcare says the new hospital will help their system integrate to create one centralized location for all hospital services. MU Healthcare Chief Executive Officer Jonathan Consultant Curtright says the aging building on Keene will serve as a bridge once the new children's hospital is completed in 2024.
Over the next, I'd say 5 to 7 years, that facility will be a pop-off valve where we can either, if we're building a smaller building or building a clinic, or if we grow beyond some of our surgical ORs, we will use that as a place where we can pop off and provide a great care.
The building on Keene is located near I-70 and Highway 63. It was built in 1973. Mr. Curtright spoke Saturday on 93.9 The Eagles CEO Roundtable. You can hear the full interview with Fred Perry on our website. That is 939theeagle.com. Columbia voters will be casting ballots here in a few weeks in April on you heard me correctly, 2 local use tax questions, one for the city and one for Boone County. I asked Columbia Finance Director Matthew Liu if he's worried that voters will be confused.
That is a concern, but I think as long as we get the word out there that you have to vote twice, that people will understand.
He says supporters of Prop 1 have been speaking to various clubs, getting the message out. They'll be voting twice in April. And a prominent businessman will be leading the citizens' effort to convince voters in Boone County to pass the April use tax ballot measure. He is Dave Griggs, a former owner of a major carpet store on the Business Loop. Griggs also popular in politics here in Boone County. He's a former county commissioner, served as the Northern District Commissioner in Boone County from 1989 to 1990. 93.9 The Eagle News is brought to you this hour by AirServe Heating and Air Conditioning, ensuring the air in which you live and breathe is comfortable and clean. For all of your heating needs, log on to airserve.com. 93.9 The Eagle News time, 6:06. In sports, Mizzou's athletics director announcing late Friday afternoon that Konzo Martin will not return as the head basketball coach this fall at Mizzou. Desiree Reed-Francois says Coach Martin represents the university with a high level of class and dignity. She describes him as a man of high character. Coach Martin, 78-77, 5 seasons at Mizzou. His team did make 2 NCAA tournaments. Mizzou this year, 12-21. Mizzou women's hoops team did not make the NCAA basketball tournament. They began the year 13-2, finishing the season 18-12 overall, hoping right now for an NIT bid. Mizzou baseball team beating Arizona State Sunday night, Phoenix Municipal Stadium, 6-4 the final there. Mizzou right now on the year, improving, I should say, to 11-2. Torrin Montgomery set an RBI in the first inning of 5 out of the last 6 Mizzou games. 93.9 The Eagle News time, 6:07. All right, Kevin, thanks so much. Right now, clear skies. It's 45 degrees. And our weather, by the way, was brought to you by Club Car Wash, clubcarwash.com to find a location near you. Traffic brought to you by midmohires.com. Local companies are looking for local people. Roads right now pretty quiet here in mid-Missouri. If you want to report a traffic issue, you can call or text us 573-874-9390. More team coverage in less than 30 minutes, and we have breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
You could take the 5 worst presidents in American history and put them together, and they would not have done the damage Joe Biden has done in just 13 months. We have a president representing our country at the most important time in history who is physically and mentally challenged.
You know, and I don't care who's delivering that message there. That is a message of consistency, and I would call it a message of fact. I swear, I keep feeling like it's 1979. Now, I remember as a little kid, 1979, my mom and dad in their 1971 big old brown Dodge Monaco waiting in line at gas stations in California while they both had their windows rolled down, smoking cigarettes, complaining about Jimmy Carter at the time and having to wait for gas and everything going on in the Iranian hostage crisis. It occurs to me, it feels like it's 1979. Crazy gas prices, complete lack of trust and leadership in the White House, and then questions about everything else that's taking place on a center stage right now. I think those are very accurate statements. Trump over the weekend, who continues to rally, didn't say anything definitive about 2024, but again making those overtures, saying he would like to go back and win the beautiful White House and go back. We have some polling numbers we might get into later this morning. Maybe coming up at 6:50, we'll do some poll dancing. How would Joe and Trump right now, for what polls are worth, how would they do in a head-to-head matchup 2024? And remember, there's already a lot of other big names out there potentially for the presidential race in 2024, even on the GOP side. One, Mr. Josh Hawley. A lot of talk. There's a lot of matter of fact. A lot of folks saying it's not a matter of if; it's just a matter of when. Does he do 2024? Does he wait to see what Trump does, or does Josh Hawley wait until 2028? One of the things we do have this morning, some folks had gone to the Missouri Ethics Commission and complained about Eric Greitens. Here was the complaint. They're saying, listen, he had all this money from when he ran for a statewide office. Dude's got like $1 million in his account, and it's illegal to then take that money and spend it on a federal office. He's running for Senate, of course. So the complaint was filed with the Missouri Ethics Commission. Missouri Ethics Commission, what did they say? We're going to have that coming up at 7:10 here on 93.9 The Eagle. Welcome into the show. I am Branden Rathert. There's Mr. Brian Hauswirth. Busy week. A lot of sports news over the past several days. Tom Brady yesterday.
Yeah, boy, I'll tell you, that was interesting, too. I mean, there was if you think about it, about a month ago, Adam Schefter reported, quoting sources, he was going to retire, and then Tom Brady said he later said, yes, I am going to retire, and now saying he won't retire. He wants to come back because of unfinished business. Very interesting.
I know. So whenever Tom Brady retired 6 weeks ago, I'm like, yes, the Chiefs got this. We still have to get to the Super Bowl, but I think we've increased our chances.
What is it? Is it just because he's really good that it makes Tom Brady so easy to not like?
Yeah, a lot of people don't like him just because he is. And there is nothing really to not like about, besides cheating against our St. Louis Rams and allegations of other types of cheating on the field. But really, the guy, he's not pompous. He's not arrogant. He simply loves the game of football. But I'm wondering, how would this translate? I'm like, what if Hannah came to Zimmer and said, hey, I quit. I'm done. I'm retiring at the age of 21. I've worked radio.
You guys would be in trouble.
I've worked Wake Up Columbia. I'm a college grad. I've accomplished everything in life I want to do. But then she comes back 6 weeks later and says, I changed my mind. I don't know that Hannah would get the welcome back that Tom Brady is getting.
Probably not.
Or that anybody would, not just Hannah. But that doesn't parlay into other professions. Like if you're the accountant at the local bank and you go into work, I quit. And then 6 weeks later, hey, can I have my job back? I don't think that stuff always flies, man.
No. It is interesting, but again, you're talking about a first ballot Hall of Famer. But I totally understand what you're saying. Brandon, I think what's most amazing, if you take a step back and think about when he was at Michigan, I still remember the first pass he threw his senior year. I was doing a school board, and I think they were playing Iowa, but Michigan, he was a quarterback. He had it was not a great year. It was a pretty good year, but he didn't really play until his senior year, and he was a 6th-round draft pick. That's the thing that is amazing to me.
He was almost Mr. Irrelevant, wasn't he?
Yeah,
like the last guy chosen in the draft.
If you think about it, a sixth round, but somehow he got into that system, and It's amazing, and he looks about the same as he did then, really.
Yeah, he's a good-looking guy, loves the game of football, keeps in incredibly fit condition. The other big news, Cuonzo Martin relieved of his duties at Mizzou, and I think everybody knew it was coming. It was just a matter of when. And listen, if you don't win, you don't win. I will say this. So I was growing up in St. Louis when he was playing ball at East St. Louis, and he would make St. Louis media. And then in the early 90s, our paths crossed again when my first job in radio was in a cornfield in Indiana, right next to Purdue University, where he played ball. So we kind of had followed each other over the years. And what I know about this personally, what people that have been affiliated with him over the years, this guy, he is a true gentleman when it comes to making sure the student athletes are respectable young individuals. He was all... I don't know, maybe to a fault. I don't coach, nor do I recruit for college basketball. But remember, he got here, it was the Porter brothers, and that was really going to set things off, and that never materialized.
Never did.
And recruiting couldn't. I think there was hope that he'd get a bunch of recruits from the East St. Louis area, and I just don't know if any of that ever materialized.
You know, if you look back at what happened with the Porters, no one could have predicted that Michael Porter Jr. would have had those injuries, but he really didn't. I mean, maybe a couple of games, didn't play much.
Like a few minutes.
Exactly. And the expectations were so high. I do believe those expectations ended up hurting Coach Martin there. John Tay played more and had obviously some success there, but it's hard. There's no doubt about it. But what you said there is his integrity speaks for itself. And a fine man, and I agree with you. I do remember him playing at East St. Louis, and I believe played in the Coca-Cola KMOX shootout. I believe he played in that, as I recall. And I also remember LaFonso Ellis was at East St. Louis Lincoln. They played against each other, so a lot of great talent there. Wish him all the best of luck.
And then also Major League Baseball and the owners ending their lockout. They're apparently going to be playing ball, which is good news for Cardinals fans and Royals fans. Something we can do for you this morning, 874-9390, 874-9390. Blake, via text, Tom Brady is doing Garth Brooks. I don't know if anybody remembers. I only know this because I was in country music at the time. Garth Brooks tried to do the whole, and this would have been just a couple of years before Hannah the producer was born. Garth Brooks was going to develop this whole new, it was Chris Gaines. That was the guy. Garth Brooks was no longer Garth Brooks. He kind of did the artist, kind of did like what Prince did, kind of. But Garth Brooks created this whole new persona, came out with an album as Chris Gaines, came out with a video as Chris Gaines. And somebody might remember better than I do, but I think there was even a movie. So he did all this stuff.
It's like Granger Smith has... Yeah. Is it Earl Dibbles?
Dibbles, yeah, who I've actually have seen. What was different about Garth Brooks, he achieved this great level of stardom and then said, I'm going to start all over. I'm going to become Chris Gaines. And it failed. It did not do what he had intended it to do. And I think, as a matter of fact, and this is pre-social media era, but he was roundly criticized, like, dude, what are you doing? Good comparison there, Blake. Appreciate that. 874-9390. 874-9390. So here on Pi Day, March the 14th, in the home state of the 314 area code, I guess a bunch of different places they offer specials on pies because it's Pi Day. This is like totally a Hannah thing. Like this.
Oh, yeah. Do you know any digits of pi?
3 and then 14.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I know a few.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's all I know. Are there more?
A few more.
A few more. Also, Mizzou women's and basketball teams, they're not going to the NCAA. I think kind of sketchy eyes cast over at the NCAA Women's Selection Committee. A lot of folks, especially with that upset of number 1 South Carolina this year, a lot of folks thought Mizzou women's basketball was going to the tournament. Now maybe an NIT. And listen, even if you're not a big fan of basketball, I think that stuff is cool. You know, it gives us something to rally around for a little bit, even if we don't do well in the tournament. It's just something to take our mind off of things for a while, because I'll tell you, gas prices still high. As a matter of fact, AAA Missouri right now. So here's the bad news. Our average here in Missouri, about $3.84 a gallon. In Boone, I keep seeing it everywhere, $3.99 a gallon. That's where I saw it.
I keep waiting for it to jump over $4.
Man, Just a bummer. So still there, and no hope, no immediate hope of those prices coming down. But I want to go back to something Trump said over the weekend in opening this show.
You could take the 5 worst presidents in American history and put them together, and they would not have done the damage Joe Biden has done in just 13 months.
And all that is accurate. But here's what we're starting to see now, the progressive media and friends on the street that are, well, you know, Russia, that's why gas prices are so high. It's got nothing to do with Joe Biden, see? And that's wrong. All you simply need to do is look at the hit. And this is stuff, you don't even hardly need to fact check it. We just know, and here's why I say we don't need to fact check. You know what you were paying for gas a year ago. You know what you were paying for gas a month ago. We know that it's steadily gone up. We know what's happened now, of course, since Russia has invaded Ukraine. So, but we're starting here. Well, you know, high prices, inflation, more record numbers coming out late last week. It's because of Russia invading Ukraine. Let's check in with ABC's Jonathan Karl to correct this wrong assumption.
Although if you look at the numbers, inflation really started to rise almost exactly when Biden came in the White House. Now, obviously,
and that is accurate, and we know that. So it takes a guy from ABC to remind these progressives on his show. Jonathan Karl is saying, "Well, you guys are blaming Russia for this, and sure, yeah, you can explain that for that steep fuel increase over the past almost 3 weeks." But what do you explain before that? What about the record inflation numbers? What about this? What about that? And if you were to look at a chronological, if you were to look at a timeline, here's January the 20th. And what has happened since then? It is unmistakable. So what do we do about it? I think we keep positive messaging, the conservative message, and we encourage people to get out and do that. And not just vote. But if people are so situated, you know, get involved, go to meetings, go and spread the word, talk to people, and do it. Here's the thing: I think a lot of us, we want to win, and I'm guilty of this sometimes too. I just want to win the argument. Well, 2 things. Number one,
sometimes,
yeah. Well, when I'm wrong, I admit it.
It's usually after the fact, right?
Sure. Well, because it's after, I don't know until after the fact that I'm wrong, but I will say I was wrong. But I don't have, you know, here's the other thing. I don't have to attend every argument that I'm invited to. But we can be nice about it. Everybody wants to win argument. Well, our side is right. How about you saying, hey, do you like the inflation? Do you like the higher gas prices? Do you like all this crap going on?
This show includes language and or cultural stereotypes that are inconsistent with today's standards of inclusion and tolerance and may offend some listeners. But not you. You get it. 93.9 The Eagle.
They like the idea that the price is going up. They think that it means that people are going to buy electric cars. And unfortunately, we don't have magic carpets out where I live. We're going to need petroleum for a decade or 2 decades to come, no matter what this administration says.
It's a senator from South Dakota, Senator Mike Rounds. You've seen this Russian invasion of Ukraine. It's like a big marketing opportunity for progressives and the White House. See, we need electric cars. We need electric cars. That gets us into today's daily DC rundown. When you have people like Stephen Colbert, the comedian, who arrogantly gets on TV and says, hey, I'm willing to pay a few more bucks at the pump for the people of Russia. And you rich, arrogant hole. Not everybody can. It's a real thing. I'm thinking just for me, gas is up a gallon, basically, in the past month. That's over $100 every single month extra. And I'm fortunate that it's not going to hurt me too much, but not everybody is in that situation. I'll tell you, it hurt so much I didn't go to Idaho last week. Plane tickets were up to $3,000 from the airport. Usually I fly $600, $700, $800. They were up to $3,000. And progressives just see that it's a marketing opportunity. Get electric cars. Other things happening in your daily DC rundown today. And I'm still, and I'm guilty now of taking part in this. I don't understand why everybody's health becomes a news story. So-and-so has a cold. This person got the flu. Former President Barack Obama said yesterday he had tested positive for the coronavirus, though he's feeling relatively healthy. And his wife, Michelle, tested negative, which has been the overwhelming majority of the people's experience. Yeah, it's not that big of a deal. And I feel fine. It's not that way for everybody, but for the overwhelming majority of folks. Coming up here on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com, we're going to go pole dance. I think we'll do that at 6:50 here on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com.
Stop by Club Car Wash today to get an unlimited membership for just $20 a month. See more details at clubcarwash.com. It's 43 degrees.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. Russian airstrikes have hit a military base in western Ukraine, 11 miles from Poland's border. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky is asking again for a NATO-enforced no-fly zone over his country.
He said, if you don't, Russian missiles will eventually fall in NATO countries. Zelensky says he's instructed officials to try and broker a meeting between him and Russia's leader Vladimir Putin. Zelensky said arranging those talks would be difficult but necessary.
Fox's Simon Owen. The actor William Hurt died, 71 years old. He had cancer. He won a Best Actor Oscar in 1985 for Kiss of the Spider-Woman.
Say it like a woman, you mean. What's wrong with being like a woman? Why do only women get to be sensitive?
He was nominated for Children of a Lesser God and Broadcast News. More recently, he was in some of those Marvel movies. America's listening to Fox News.
And now award-winning local news coverage with Brian Hauswirth on 93.9 The Eagle.
And the 93.9 The Eagle News with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 6:31 right now. Clear skies, 45 right now in Columbia. Our high today will be around 65 degrees. There's a slight chance of rain tonight with a low near 45. Good morning, everyone. Here's some of the stories we are working on for you at this hour. MU Health is building a state-of-the-art primary care facility in nearby Boonville, a town that lost its hospital 2 years ago. MU Health's Chief Executive Officer Jonathan Curtright says the facility will have therapy, imaging, family medicine, and other key areas.
It's going to have an outstanding urgent care center. So if you have a traumatic event, or if you need general medicine, general primary care services, general imaging, lab work, that sort of thing, you're going to be able to get that care right there close to home.
Kurt Wright appeared this weekend on 93.9 The Eagles CEO Roundtable. You'll recall that Boonville's Pinnacle Regional Hospital closed in 2020. Meantime, construction set to begin on the Boone County Nature School this summer. Columbia School Board will hear a detailed presentation on the project status tonight at their meeting. CPS has committed $2 million to the school's construction. Department of Conservation has committed $1 million. Community trying to raise $1.5 million. Their fundraising goal 93% complete. Man being treated in an area hospital. He was shot by a burglar early Sunday morning. Gotis Drive, Northeast Columbia, near Clark Lane. Victim with non-life-threatening injuries, and no arrests have been made. And the American Red Cross assisting several residents of a Jefferson City duplex damaged by a weekend fire. Happened Saturday. Riverside Drive impacting residents in 2 apartments. 93.9 The Eagle News brought to you by MidAmericaMortgage.us. Our news time, 6:33. In sports, Mizzou's athletics director announcing late Friday afternoon that Conzo Martin will not be returning as the head basketball coach this fall. AD Desiree Reed-Francois says Coach Martin representing the university with high level of class and dignity, describing him as well as a man of high character. Coach Martin, 78-77, 5 seasons at Mizzou, his team making 2 NCAA tournaments. Mizzou this year, 12-21. Kind of a heartbreaking day yesterday for the Mizzou women's basketball team. Many fans confident they would make the NCAA. They do not make it, and so Mizzou hoping right now for an NIT bid. And the Cardinals will open their spring training schedule Friday against the Houston Astros. Game time to be determined. Of course, we are your home for St. Louis Cardinals baseball this year, all season long on the radio, 93.9 The Eagle. I still call them the Colt 45s, the Houston Colt 45s, Jim Wynn and Rusty Staub, if you remember those names. Our sports is brought to you by Service Master of Disaster, the Master of Disaster, Adam Kinzer, ServiceMasterofColumbia.com, 573-443-8383. Our news time, 6:34. Traffic check with MidmoHires.com. Local companies are looking for local people. MidmoHires.com to find a job or to post your job opening today. Roads have been pretty quiet in mid-Missouri this morning. Good news is we don't, knock on wood, we don't have any snow in the forecast for this week and no threats of severe weather at this time. Roads are quiet. We like to see that. We'll have more team coverage in less than 30 minutes and breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
A few of them was probably about 7 miles from my house, probably, because I know some of them happened on Scrivener Road, and actually one of the fires was on my great-uncle's property. And that's when the officer proceeded to tell me that they had a credible firefighter witness of Russellville that could put my son and my nephew at the scene of a fire.
That's Joseph Peter Shagan talking to our news partners, ABC 17. This firefighter in Russellville, he's a volunteer firefighter. He's not even paid to do it. Accused of arson.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, like, what makes somebody do that? What makes a firefighter, especially a volunteer firefighter, want to go out and set fires? Like, if that's even, especially since you're not paid, you know, that's just crazy. Like, hey, I don't have enough work. I'm going to create more work for myself.
John Marsh, our colleague, had a report on that of a very story on Friday, and there were a couple of different incidents, but these are allegations. Obviously, it's going to go through the court system. But one of them, Branden, is this 19-year-old, and forgive me, I don't have his name right in front of me, but 19 years old, the volunteer firefighter. By the way, he has been suspended. One of the allegations is that he was mad at his girlfriend's family and allegedly set one fire. And then there was another allegation that he was bored. But he has been suspended at this time, according to our colleague John Marsh.
And I could see the boredom because, I used to be a little kid, and I don't know what it is about lighters and little kids. But, man, if you had a book of matches or you found one of your parents' lighters, you had an afternoon full of entertainment. Setting things on, small things. You set small things on fire to watch it flame up. So I can see the board excuse. By the way, the Missouri Division of Fire Safety says there's a need for volunteer firefighters in Missouri. Don't you know somebody who's a volunteer firefighter?
I do. My boyfriend is. And basically everybody's hurting for firefighters.
So, and he's volunteer, so he doesn't get paid for what he's completely volunteering. By the way, a world of respect for people that go out and do this on a volunteer basis. Meanwhile, more frontline responders last week. Some Joplin officers shot in the line of duty. Second Joplin officer shot by suspect. He died. Donated his organs. Officer Jake Reed continued his service to others as his vital organs were escorted to the airport, flown across the country to give life to others. That's what I want to donate my entire body to science, not just my organs. Be just like, my family's busy. They don't have time to plan a funeral. Just you take this, man.
Well,
you do it.
I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think after a set amount of time, they return your body back to your family. So I don't know if that's the best... I don't know if that's the best reason to donate your body to
give it back like, here, we're done with it. We took all, we parted it out like a car in your front. I'm selling it for parts. That's what it's like. So they take your body, and then they poke and prod, do whatever, show college students, see, here's where this is, and here's where that part is, and here's where the cerebral cortex is. And then you just drop it off on the front porch of the family's house.
I mean, I've never done it before, so I guess I can't claim to be an expert here. But I think in some cases that's what happens.
Is they give the body back. I didn't know that. Welcome into the show. This is Wake Up Columbia. That is Brian Hauswirth.
It's good to see you. Good to have you back, by the way.
I'm glad to be back. Hannah, the producer, is here.
Good morning.
My name is Branden Rathert. If there's something we could do for you, 874-9390, 874-9390. Coming up, we're going to do some pole dancing. 650. If Biden and Trump were in a presidential race, 2024, how would that fall out? For what polls are worth, we're going to take a look at that. And then some jaw-dropping numbers for somebody potentially running for governor. It's a name you would know in the state of New York. Those are some of the things we're going to have later this morning here on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9 TheEagle.com. Good weekend, Hannah. Your highlight?
I got to see my baby nephews.
Oh, very cool. How are they doing?
They are doing good. They're 5 months old already.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
And they getting bigger?
Yes.
Well, if you don't feed them, see, they don't get bigger.
No, they're getting fed. I can attest to that.
Kids are like weeds. You keep feeding them, and they'll keep growing. I want to thank Hannah and Stephanie for taking care of Wake Up Columbia while I was gone. Did I miss anything super exciting?
We started some beef over on Facebook again while you were gone.
Yeah, what did you do?
Stephanie found an article that was an opinion piece, and it was 7 reasons why this gentleman thought you shouldn't move to rural areas. And it exploded on the Facebook page. And you'll never guess what the number 1 reason on his list was.
To not move into rural areas. Mm-hmm. Smell of dairy farms.
No, it was guns. Yeah. That just kind of sets the tone for what type of a list this was.
Oh, jeez. And so people had a field day with that, huh?
Oh, yeah.
I thought this was kind of, this also made me laugh. You know, in L.A., whenever there's a high-speed chase, man, that stuff goes to live TV right now. Like those local news producers, be like here, like at ABC 17, if our news partners, like if Lucas Guys, they were just sitting, man, we just need a high-speed car chase, and we'll cut to that live. Well, that's what they do in L.A. all the time. And it's a helicopter. It's a police helicopter working for the TV station. So he's kind of given the play-by-play, and that's what they do. They give the play-by-play of high-speed chases. Well, the guy in the helicopter, obviously, he has a different vantage point. He sees the suspect hiding on the ground, laying down by a car. And then, meanwhile, these cops swarm out of their vehicles this close to the guy, trying to arrest him, and they can't find him.
Job of it right there. LAPD coming to a stop. Oh, come on, guys. He's right there. The officer's running right by him. They're going right by him. Angie, our pilot today, talking on O2, trying to tell the officers that this suspect is right there.
Right there.
You're getting warm.
Warmer? And really, if I were really thinking ahead, I would have posted the video on the Wake Up Columbia, because the video is just incredible. These cops, it's like Keystone Cops. They keep running right by the dude, and the dude up in the helicopter is like, he's right there.
And again, you just saw that. Oh my goodness, I just feel so bad for those officers making their way back now. It's the blue car. There we go. Somebody's getting the information. Somebody's got to be getting the information. Keep coming around, Ange. Keep coming around. Keep coming around. That suspect, unbelievable. We're watching this live, and you have to understand that these officers, they don't know what the information that we know. But again, that LAPD helicopter just arriving. There you go. Some of those officers must be getting that information. There you go. There you go. And now that suspect going into custody. Wow.
So this guy up in the helicopter, a couple hundred feet in the air, is like, hey, he's right there. And in the video, you see these cops, and it's like Keystone Cops. They keep running by him, and then they keep going this way, and then they're, what happened?
It's like my favorite commercial. Oh, you almost had it.
You almost had it. Hey, we're getting like this close to 93.9 The Eagle Man Show. That's coming up this weekend. It's going to be huge. It's going to be so much fun. It's like everything man is going to be there. There's food, there's beer, there's wings, there's live music. A lot of different things you can do. It is very interactive. It's coming up this Saturday, March 19th. Prize drawings, a beard competition. You know somebody's got a pretty stout beard, man, you should get them roped up in this beard competition. The manliest event of the year, the Come On Man Show. You can buy tickets. They're only $15. Online, you can go to 93.9 The Eagle. By the way, a portion of the proceeds we give to the Central Missouri Honor Flight. And what they do is they transport America's veterans to Washington, D.C. to visit the memorials dedicated to honor their service and sacrifices. You can also get tickets at the door on Saturday. That'd be $20. All right, Biden v. Trump, hypothetical, and maybe not as hypothetical as we think, 2024 matchup. How would they do? We're going to go
The power of local talk. Wake Up Columbia with Branden. 93.9 The Eagle.
And this information that we're learning right now, indicating from someone on the ground who was at the scene, that these two journalists got into a car to go closer to where the front line was at, and ultimately they were shot.
This guy's an American freelance journalist, Brent Rathert, previously contributed to the New York Times. He was killed in Russian fire outside of Kyiv yesterday, according to Ukraine's Interior Ministry. And I've always thought these reporters, a lot of what these reporters, actual journalists do and going in these places and getting the story, this guy just trying to bring the story to the world ends up dying. Sometimes that's what happens. When I had this incident almost 2 years ago, downtown Columbia, Black Lives Matter protesters, and started getting crap hurled at me and racial epithets. And I remember walking away going, man, I went into the belly of the beast, and I got great video, and I got great audio, and captured exactly what's happening. And then promptly got disciplined from just about everybody in my inner circle. As a matter of fact, I remember calling my dad. Dad, they just threw stuff at me, and they were calling me honky and white boy and white people and all this. But I got the story, and right there by the police station in Columbia, Dad. And first thing my dad says to me, what the hell did you do that for? That was stupid.
The best part was people were calling me going, what's Branden doing? I don't know.
I don't know what he's doing at all. But this guy, that's what some of these journalists do. They go into these places and they get the story, and sometimes they die. But you think about the bravery in that sometimes, and what this guy did. So we can hear, we hear these cool stories. Like here's another. If there are to be cool stories that are had from what's happening right now in Ukraine. Apparently, the Ukraine Postal Service has launched a Russian warship go-yourself stamp.
What?
I'll hold that up to the camera there so you can see it. But it's a Ukrainian soldier flipping off a Russian warship. And apparently, that's going to be their stamps. It's an epic response from Ukrainian soldiers defending Snake Island to a Russian vessel's demand that they surrender. It's just some dude with a gun. Screw you. We ain't doing it. All right, let's go pole dancing here on Wake Up Columbia on 93.9 The Eagle. I'm Branden Rathert. That's Hannah, the producer. Stephanie Bell has the day off. For what polls are worth, I always think kind of interesting to look at. So let's start with some of those gas prices. But what are you going to do with the gas prices? I get it. Gas prices, I know.
Cuss.
And I get that when gas prices go up, 12, 15, 20, 30 cents. But when they're up, and by the way, they were going up prior to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. They started going up January 20th, 2021. That's when they started going up. But it's ridiculous. It's beyond, well, we got to buck up and pay more. You're talking $1 more a gallon compared to a year ago, more than $1 more per gallon. That's a lot of money. That's not just easy for. See, we think it's easy for us to absorb, and it's not like it. It's not that way for everybody.
The past couple times I've gotten gas, I've only gotten a half tank because it feels better. It feels better somehow than getting a full tank.
And I don't know if this is the gas station, if it's the gas pumps or people's debit cards, but I've heard this story more than once. People who have bigger tanks, so like mine would cut off. It's cutting off at $75 because some people's debit cards, I guess, won't let you spend more than $75 at a gas station one purchase or the gas.
I think it's usually the gas station and the
gas
pumps.
Station. Okay.
Yeah.
But people can't even fill up their man. Even if I wanted to fill up my vehicle, I probably couldn't because it cuts off at $75.
Well, you still could. You would just have to do a second transaction.
And get another receipt so you get your tax money back from the state of Missouri. The end of the. By the way, I went through, so I'm saving my receipts. It's 2.5 cents per gallon gas tax. It went into effect late last year. You can get that money back. All you have to do is save your receipts, every single one of them. And then on every single receipt, write down your VIN number and make sure it has all that important info. And then during a small time frame in the upcoming year, you can mail those in. After you filled out filled out the prerequisite paperwork for this. And then you send it to them, and then you get your, like, $12 back.
Wow. Is it even worth it at that point?
Well, it's the way I'm figuring it right now per gallon. It'll be about $25 to $35 that I would get back at the end of the year.
So, do you think that that's worth it?
I don't know. I have to do it, but I went through my envelope of receipts the other day, and right now my answer would be I don't think so. Well, because the other thing that happens, and by the way, they know what they're doing. They're making it damn near impossible for you to get your money back. And on these receipts, so gas stations keep running out of receipts. And if it's after hours, you got your baby in the car, you're not going into the gas station to get your receipt. You're not doing that. You say, to heck with it. And plus, the ink on those receipts, they don't last very long. The receipts, obviously, they crumble easy. Just a monumental pain in that. But that gets us into today's pole dancing. Folks asked, are you willing to pay more at the pump to punish Russia? 77% of folks said, yeah, we support the sanctions on Russian oil and gas. 23% opposed them. And by the way, largely falls along partisan lines. Do I think it's okay to be paying $1.50 more a gallon? No, sure don't. Am I willing to cut loose with a few cents? Yeah. As cold and callous as that may seem, if I'm just being honest, yeah, I'd rather have my. I better shut up. I'm going to get myself in trouble.
Careful.
And I just got back today.
Careful.
Don't start again, rather. Okay, 2024 rematch. Biden, Trump, how would they do? According to polling, for what it's worth, hypothetical matchup between Trump and Biden. It was split 45-45. Yeah, we talk about how we're divided. I think a lot of these polling numbers, whether you're looking at a presidential poll, let's say a Senate poll race, when you see numbers like this so evenly split, I think that speaks to and adds volume to that argument. Yeah, we just people as a whole are more politically opposed than what we were years ago. But here's the other thing I'll say, just casual observation of life, and fortunately we have, with the exception of the Jussie Smollett thing, that racist thing that happened where he said white guys, Trump supporters, beat him up and all that. He was sentenced last week to some time in jail. But whenever stories like that happen, it's, oh, see, the blacks and whites don't get along. And I think, every day, just in my normal everyday life, whether it's chatting with somebody, the grocery store, all these favorable interactions that people have all the time, that's the kind of stuff that doesn't get reported, but it happens, but it doesn't make the news, and so we get this skewed version of reality.
to let safely more civilians flee. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Ukraine set up new humanitarian quarters today, but
every time this conflict has seen evacuation corridors open for civilians, they've been targeted by Russian shelling and even landmines along the side of the road.
Fox's Trey Yingst in Kyiv as Russian strikes hit in and around the capital today. 2 people killed and an apartment building hit. An American journalist, Branden, was shot and killed by Russian forces. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan tells CBS Face the Nation it's shocking and horrifying, and they will
determine how this happened and then to measure and execute appropriate consequences as a result of it.
Today, Sullivan will talk to China's top diplomat. China is denying Russia has asked it for military support. Gas is holding steady after surging 79 cents the past 2 weeks, according to analyst Trilby Lundberg.
We could have an extreme price hike from here. We could also have a pause. The only thing we're unlikely to see is a big decline in prices.
Her survey of stations has regular at $4.43 per gallon. AAA's national average about a dime less. There's a search for a killer in New York, and it may stretch to Washington. Fox's Evan Brown explains live.
Yeah, Dave, police and the mayors of both New York City and Washington, D.C. now think a number of shootings of homeless men in their cities are being committed by the same gunman. 3 homeless men were shot in D.C. earlier this month. 1 died from his wounds. 3 men in Manhattan were found shot this weekend. 2 of them died. Police have published images of the suspect taken by security cameras. He's wearing what appears to be a blue surgical glove on the same hand firing the gun, Dave.
And COVID is on the rise in China again. The worst outbreak there in 2 years, leading to cities on lockdown. Here in the U.S., COVID cases have dropped 7 weeks in a row, deaths down 5 straight weeks. Former President Obama has COVID, saying other than a scratchy throat, he feels fine. He and former First Lady Michelle Obama are fully vaccinated and boosted. America's listening to Fox News.
After 9/11, Saul Martinez couldn't wait to enlist. In Iraq, his vehicle was hit by a projectile improvised explosive device. Saul survived, but he lost both legs, suffered a traumatic brain injury, and lost 2 close friends. Saul now lives in a smart home from the Tunnel to Towers Foundation, which gave him back his independence despite his severe physical challenges. Help heroes like Saul. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org.
Near historically low mortgage rates may not last forever. If you're in the market for a new home or your dream home, go with a lender you can count on. For competitive rates, over 300 loan products and thousands of loan consultants to help make sure you get the home and the mortgage that you want. Call now to see if you're pre-approved. 866-888-LOAN. 866-888-LOAN. Or go to LoanDepot.com. Loan Depot, where home means everything. Rates are subject to change. Equal housing opportunity lender. NMLS number 174457. Licensed in all 50 states.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 7:03. Still getting used right now to our time change. Normally at this time we've had sunlight. Not right now. It is still dark outside. 43 our current temperature in Columbia. We're expecting a high today of around 65. Sunrise at 7:22 here in about 19 minutes. And our sun will set at 7:15 this evening. Good morning, everyone. Here's some of the stories we are working on for you at this hour. We begin with that shooting incident in Northeast Columbia where police need your help in finding a suspect who reportedly burglarized a home on Godis Drive early Sunday and then shot a resident in the leg. The victim suffering non-life-threatening injuries. ABC 17's Ben Fine on scene reporting that scene was very active when he first arrived at 3:30 yesterday morning.
While I was here on scene, I witnessed police searching the area around this house here on Godis with flashlights, also using police dogs, with some officers walking around with assault rifles.
Ben Fine on the scene there on Godis Drive, which is near Clark Lane, not far from the Lake of the Woods. The victim has been transported to a local hospital. CPD's investigation continues. Anyone with information urged to call Crime Stoppers 573-875-TIPS. Meantime, a weekend fire causing extensive damage to a home In southwest Columbia, firefighters say the blaze began early Sunday morning. The 4600 block of Royal Lytham Drive, that is west of Forum. Firefighters saw heavy smoke and fire when they arrived at about 12:35 on Sunday morning. 10 crews responding to the scene. There were no reports of any injuries in that incident. Supporters of an April use tax ballot measure in Boone County say Boone is the last county among its contiguous counties to approve a use tax.
Boone County voters will cast ballots on Proposition 1 in April. Audrain, Callaway, Cole, Cooper, Howard, Montauk, and Randolph counties already have a use tax, which is a sales tax on online sales. If the measure fails, Proposition 1 supporters say local stores in Boone County will continue to lose business to online retailers, impacting the local economy and job market. Businessman Dave Griggs, a former county commissioner, chairs the Boone County Yes on Prop 1 committee. Don Luzader, 93.9 The Eagle.
All right, Don, thank you. Of course, Mr. Griggs was a former county commissioner. He was the Northern District Commissioner back in 1989 and also 1990. Now, Columbia voters will be casting ballots in April on 2 local use tax questions, one for the city and one for Boone County. Same thing for you folks who live in Ashland. You'll be voting twice as well for Ashland and Boone County. I asked Columbia Finance Director Matthew Liu if he's worried that voters will be confused.
That is a concern, but I think as long as we get the word out there that you have to vote twice, that people will understand.
Mr. Liu says supporters of Columbia Proposition 1 have been speaking to various clubs. They're getting the message out that they'll be voting twice in April. Use tax supporters say Columbia needs the revenue stream for the vital city services like public safety and roads. More than 220 Missouri towns currently have a use tax. They include Booneville, Fulton, and Sturgeon. Also, check your mailbox. The Boone County Clerk, Brianna Lennon, this weekend did mail out official sample ballots. It has the name of these particular propositions. They are in your mailbox, and you will be getting those if you haven't already very soon. And Columbia School Board will hear a detailed report tonight about the Boone County Nature School at their meeting. CPS says it values the continued partnership with the Missouri Department of Conservation. They're committed to supporting the Nature School. CPS has committed $2 million for the school's construction. Missouri Department of Conservation committing $1 million. The community has already raised 93% of the $1.5 million fundraising goal, and the district plans to continue middle school science and 5th grade trips to the school this fall. Full Nature School programming for all Boone County 5th graders will be available in 2023, according to the school board packet. I link to this report on our website, 939theeagle.com. You can take a look at some of the photos. They talk about the history of the project. Henry J. Waters III, what he did, and Vicki Waters as well. They donated the land back in 2019. This report also talks about the impact of COVID on this project. You can look at the whole report, 10 pages, 939theeagle.com. Our news brought to you this morning by the Candy Factory. The Candy Factory is in downtown Columbia. Anniversary, birthday, and any day. It's the Candy Factory online.com. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 7:07. In sports, the Mizzou baseball team beating Arizona State Sunday night in Phoenix. They played this game in Phoenix as opposed to Tempe. They played it at Municipal Stadium. 6-4, Mizzou wins it. Tigers now 11-2 on the year. Conzo Martin will not be returning as the head basketball coach this fall. Athletics Director Desiree Reed-Francois making that announcement late Friday afternoon. She describes Coach Martin as a man of high character, says he represented Mizzou with a high level of class and dignity. Mizzou this past season 12-21. Mizzou women's hoops team not making the NCAA basketball tournament. There is some controversy about this on Twitter. Many fans from Mizzou felt like the team should have been in there, noting that they did beat number 1 South Carolina earlier in the year. Mizzou started 13-2, but they do finish the year 18-12, the regular season. Now they hope for an NIT bid. And in baseball, Cardinals and the Houston Astros will play on Friday. We don't have a time as of yet, but that game will be taking place in Florida. Our sports brought to you this hour by Club Car Wash. You can find a location near you, clubcarwash.com. 93.9 The Eagle News Time is 7:09. All right, Kevin, thank you. Weather brought to you by Club Car Wash. Get an unlimited membership for $20 a month. ClubCarWash.com. Find a location near you. It's 43. And our traffic check with MidMoHires.com. Local companies looking for local people. Roads right now pretty quiet in mid-Missouri. If you want to report a traffic issue, 573-874-9390. You can call or text us. We'll have more team coverage in less than 30 minutes, and we have breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
You could take the 5 worst presidents in American history and put them together, and they would not have done the damage Joe Biden has done in just 13 months. We have a president representing our country at the most important time in history who is physically and mentally challenged.
And we look bad on a worldwide stage. We've been knowing that since January the 20th of 2021. That's Trump over the weekend. South Carolina, about an hour gig. He's doing stand-up comedy, hinting about maybe another run at the White House. We were just doing some poll numbers in this week's version of Poll Dancing. And right now, for what polls are worth, Biden and Trump, if this were the 2024 election they were running today, they would be deadlocked at about 45 points apiece. By the way, one of the things we're seeing emerging, and then we're going to move forward, talk about what's happening here at home, because this is something, by the way, gas and inflation. I was at the grocery store the other day, and I'm kind of like Hannah. What Hannah is doing, what are you doing to combat high gas prices? She's filling up her tank halfway.
Which I know it's the same amount of money, but it feels better.
I get it. I totally get it. I'm on board with what you're doing. But so this is something that it affects all of us with gas, costs on goods, just about anything we buy. It had to have been shipped from somewhere. It's going up. And anybody in the transportation industry right now, whether you drive Lyft or Uber, I think Lyft, they're adding a fuel surcharge. So it's just like if you were to ride on Lyft and you get your thing texted to you, here's your receipt, and here's for the ride from here down to Truman's in downtown, and then this surcharge here, it's just because gas is too expensive. That's that extra fuel charge. So it's getting everybody and everything. So we're starting to hear this narrative emerge that, well, Russia is because what's happening in Russia, gas prices, which had already been going up, by the way, largely because of what's happening in Russia. But so is what we're seeing a lot of these folks, they're latching their wagon on to, oh, yeah, it's Russia. How come cherub tomatoes cost so much at Walmart? Vladimir Putin. How come ground beef is less than shrimp rate? Russia. So anything that's been going bad and had been going bad prior to Russia's invasion almost 3 weeks ago can be traced to January the 20th. Going to get some help from AB. So people are trying to say, all this stuff, it's not Joe's fault. It's not the president's fault. It's Russia. Guy in charge takes the blame or the credit. Here he must take the blame, and rightfully so. Jonathan Karl on ABC pointing out, no, you can't blame all this on Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
Although if you look at the numbers, inflation really started to rise almost exactly when Biden came in the White House.
And that's true. You can look, and that's, listen, whether you're looking it up on the internet and fact-checking it yourself, that's true. You probably know just offhand, yeah. What is it I complained about prior to gas prices going up? Cost of cherub tomatoes. And how come I'm paying more for ground beef than I am for shrimp? It's a topsy-turvy world that we live in. But this is how it affects me. Cherub tomatoes. My dear sweet Hannah is only filling up her gas tank halfway.
Which is really convenient when I have to go like every, 2 or 3 days.
How bad are gas prices? Tom Brady came out of retirement to pay for gas.
Is that his official reason?
I'm not sure yet. I haven't been able to verify that statement. Brian, have you seen anything?
I've not seen that.
On that?
I think he's probably all right on gas. But.
By the way, there was a lot of sports making big news headlines over the weekend. Conzo Martin out.
Yeah, to me, and again, I'll let the listeners, as I always do, draw their own conclusion, but the man has tremendous integrity. But in the end, people say you have to win. It's just, if you look at all the games, and we would detail every report, they were in most of those games. They really were. They had a chance to win probably about 10 of those games that they lost. In the end, you win a few more of those, maybe he stays on. But boy, he is a great guy. Had a great career. I remember him just like you do at East St. Louis, and then at Purdue. And wish him all the best.
And I don't know where he might go. I don't know where he would go next. I know there's some talk about potential names that would come here. Now, two things. Number one, I don't follow college basketball that well. Number two, so any of the names that have been talked about, whether it be, I think, in the Daily Tribune or in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, names of possible replacements for Conzo Martin. None of those names I recognize. And you're right. So when you open up the paper or you get on to ESPN.com, in most sports, they have W's and L's, wins and losses. There's no column for I, which is integrity. You don't have that. Major League Baseball, they just cleaned up their mess.
They really did. I would add one thing, by the way, on the I, the integrity. Mizzou lost that last game to LSU, and I would direct everyone's attention to the ESPN stories that came out about some of the things that were going on with LSU, about the coach. I mean, it was there's.
Is he the one that just got fired?
Yeah, he got fired, and
it was sexual misconduct.
No, there wasn't anything like that, but it involved recruiting.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know about definitely not sexual activities, but recruiting. But yeah, I mean, it's just it is a. You have to me, integrity is a big deal. And Coach Martin did that the right way. And look at the tweet from Eli Drinkwitz this past weekend. He said he's a man of faith, a man of integrity, and spoke very highly of him. So he'll land on his feet somewhere. Plus, he may just stay in the area for a while. I can't speak for what he's going to do, but they and then the Mizzou women, that was the other thing, Branden. The Mizzou women were so optimistic that they were going to get a bid to the NCAA, and they did not.
Didn't get it. So men and women not in the tournament. Conzo Martin out. Cardinals are going to be playing ball this summer on 93.9. The Eagle. They got that worked out. Tom Brady coming out of retirement because gas is so expensive. Make sure you tell your hey, I heard on 93.9 The Eagle. Now, Branden Rathert, as of 7/18, said and Brian's out with that. He hadn't verified it as of 7/18, but Branden Rathert from 93.9 The Eagle is claiming Tom Brady is going back to work because gas prices are so high. You think he over the past few days thinking about this decision, going, FJB, man, I thought I'd retired, and now because gas is so high, I got to come out of retirement.
Here's the thing. If gas prices are hurting him right now bad enough that he has to return to work, he is not good at budgeting his money.
Up over $1 a gallon in less than a year. Way over $1 a gallon. Poor Tom. I really feel bad for him. Do
you though?
Yeah, it's given me a whole new perspective. I mean, here's an all-American guy and then some being so affected by gas prices, one can only presume it's got to be hard on him. I mean, think about it. When people retire, it's your golden years. You're going to do whatever you wanted to do in life. And because of things that are happening outside of your control, things you can do nothing about, he's having to go back to work to support him and his model wife, Giselle Bundchen, and pay for that mansion in Tampa. I feel bad for these guys, man.
I think they'll probably manage.
Struggle can be real. Eric Greiton. By the way, did I introduce the show? Hannah, Brian, Stephanie Bell has the day off. My name is Branden Rathert. Thank you for being here. 874-9390. If there's something we could do for you today. So Eric Greiton's running for Senate. And by the way, the polls that have been done on this, the polls without fail have shown him winning these GOP primaries for Senate. Has him beating Schmidt Hartzler, Mark McCloskey. The problem, the challenge with that is, and this is not to dismiss Eric Greitens, but a real challenge. He wins. He would very likely lose the general. Very likely will lose the general election. That is the danger. And I say that without saying anything negative about him. Pointing that out is almost point of fact. Eric Greitens wins the primary. He will lose the general U.S. Senate race to a Democrat, which Eric used to be, incidentally. But anyhow, polls continue to show that he leads. Polls that are being done, he's led every single poll. Well, some folks got wise to this, going, you know what? We've got a friend in ethics, because that's what he's been in trouble for before. Ethics with his campaign donations from his, and he's done great charity work for veterans over the years. Blurred the lines a little bit. So these folks that go to the Missouri Ethics Commission back in December, they're saying, hey, we think we've got something here. You know, Eric, who was a prodigious fundraiser, this dude had like $1 million in his state campaign committee, and we think he's using that to fund his run for Senate, which you can't do. You can't take leftover funds from this campaign for a state office and use that for a federal office. You can't do that. Missouri Ethics Commission, they go, okay. And then they look at this report, and they're like, oh, yeah, Greitens, okay, we're familiar with what he has done before. They came out with a ruling. We'll have that ruling coming up here at 7:24. Plus, we are going to be doing What's Hot with Hannah today. What do you have?
There was some big news over the weekend for Kansas City's favorite family.
Local opinion? We've got your back. Wake Up Columbia on 93.9 The Eagle.
The manliest event of the year, the 93.9 The Eagle Man Show, coming up this Saturday. Get onto our website. Tickets only $15 online. They're going to be $20 at the door. And this is just going to be a huge event happening Saturday. All kinds of manly stuff. A lot of folks are going to be there. We want to thank folks that have been helping us to put. By the way, it's happening at the Holiday Inn Expo Center, 10 to 3 this Saturday. Doolittle Trailers, Side and Stricker Noby, Shepherd's Distributing. Also, Conservation Department of Missouri and the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services getting involved this year, as is Head Motor Company. I'll be looking forward to seeing you there this Saturday, Holiday Inn Executive Center. So some folks that are not liking the idea of Eric Greitens winning the GOP primary in this 2022 U.S. Senate race, they go to the Missouri Ethics Commission. You know, we think Eric Greitens, who did incredible work as a fundraiser, we think he's taking money from his gubernatorial bid from several years ago, and he's using it in his U.S. Senate campaign. You can't do that. Missouri Ethics Commission said, yeah, he didn't violate any state campaign finance laws by spending money on his Senate bid. They're saying it was an oversight by the agency. So they're saying Eric Greitens did nothing wrong. Right now, 7:25-ish, which means it's
7:28.
Time for What's Hot with Hannah.
You know, Stephanie was almost on time 2 of the 3 days that she filled in. And then Friday, she resorted back to 7:28. But no, there was some exciting news for one of Kansas City's favorite families over the weekend. And that's, of course, the Mahomes family. Patrick and Brittany finally tied the knot in Maui over the weekend.
No, was it planned, or were they just bored? And
I'm pretty sure it was planned. I mean, it looked pretty extravagant.
So they got married in Hawaii.
And they had been engaged for a long time. If you remember, a couple months after they got engaged, they found out that they were pregnant. And I remember Brittany posted to her Instagram, "We're taking a little detour from wedding planning." So now, of course, Sterling is 1 year old and was able to be a part of the wedding. And it looked pretty fancy.
Very cool. Patrick Mahomes and Brittany married over the weekend in Hawaii. Coming up 7:35. I thought everybody knew this stuff already, but I was listening to Dave Ramsey. He's here on the weekends on 93.9 The Eagle. Tips on fighting high gas prices. How to save on fuel costs with Dave Ramsey. That's coming up 7:35.
Stop by Club Car Wash today to get an unlimited membership for just $20 a month. See more details at clubcarwash.com. It's 44 degrees.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. Fox confirms reports that the Russian government is asking the Chinese for military equipment and economic aid for its invasion of Ukraine.
The Chinese government is dismissing that suggestion as disinformation. White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan is meeting today in Italy with China's top diplomat. The US is also warning China against helping Russia evade sanctions that are hitting the Russian economy hard.
Fox's Simon Owen. 40 days after announcing his retirement from the NFL, Tom Brady says he is coming back for a 23rd season.
The 44-year-old Brady plans on returning to the gridiron with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Brady made the announcement on Twitter. He wrote, "These past 2 months, I've realized my place is still on the field and not in the stands. That time will come."
Fox's Bob Mortale. The Power of the Dog wins Best Picture at the Critics' Choice Awards and the British Academy Film Awards. America's listening to Fox News.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 7:31. Sun has risen or is in the process of rising right now. 43 our current temperature. Our high today will be around 65 degrees. Rain tonight with a low near 45. And the outlook for tomorrow, sunshine, a high of 65 degrees. Good morning, everyone. Here's some of the stories that we are working on for you at this hour. A weekend fire at a Jefferson City duplex is leaving a few families needing help.
Jefferson City fire crews were called out around 4:30 Saturday afternoon to a duplex on Riverside Drive. They found flames coming from the basement garage. Everyone inside was evacuated, and the fire was quickly brought under control. People who lived in both apartments are outdoors and now being helped by the Red Cross. After the investigation, fire crews say the fire accidentally started in the garage. John Marsh, 93.9 The Eagle.
John, thank you. Meantime, MU Health is building a state-of-the-art primary care facility in nearby Boonville. It's a town that lost its hospital 2 years ago. MU Healthcare Chief Executive Officer Jonathan Curtright says the facility will have therapy, imaging, family medicine, and also an outstanding urgent care center. Mr. Curtright appeared this weekend, 93.9 The Eagle CEO Roundtable. You can hear the full interview with Fred Perry on our website, 939theeagle.com. Boonville's Pinnacle Hospital closed in 2020. Construction set to begin on the Boone County Nature School this summer. Columbia School Board. Here's a detailed presentation of the project status at their meeting tonight. And a man being treated in an area hospital. He was shot by a burglar early Sunday morning. Gotis Drive, that's in northeast Columbia, near Clark Lane. The victim, 22 years old, suffering non-life-threatening injuries. Our news brought to you by Dr. Kent Willett, WillettDentalAssociates.com. Our news time, 7:33. In sports, the Cardinals opening their spring training schedule Friday. They'll take on the Houston Astros. Don't have a time for that game as of yet to be determined. That is according to the Cardinals website. And Mizzou's athletics director announcing that Coach Martin will not return as the head basketball coach this fall. The AD, Desiree Reed-Francois, says Coach Martin representing MU with a high level of class and dignity. She describes him as a man of high character. The coach was 78 and 77 in his 5 seasons at Mizzou. The team did make 2 NCAA tournaments. Mizzou this year 12 and 21. And the other thing that happened over the weekend involving Mizzou, the women's team did not get an invite to the NCAA tournament. Our news time, 7:34. And our traffic check is brought to you this hour by MidmoHires.com. Local companies are looking for local people. Visit MidmoHires.com. Find a job, post your job opening today. Roads have been pretty quiet here in mid-Missouri. It may take you a couple of days to get used to this time change. Our sunrise this morning at 7:22. It's still, in some cases, a little dark outside, but it will set tonight at 7:15. More team coverage in less than 30 minutes. Breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
You keep coming after me and then looking down on me. It's starting to drive me batty. I can't help it that they like me, and I like it that they like me. And I think there's a lot of this job that I do well. What do you think it takes to do this job the way they have it now?
Dude won an Oscar. William Hurt from Broadcast News won an Oscar for a movie. I think it was the year after that. By the way, and I thought he did great work. When people talk about M. Night Shyamalan, they talk about Bruce Willis's The Sixth Sense. M. Night Shyamalan's The Village. I love that movie. William Hurt was in that movie too. William Hurt dying over the weekend at the age of 71. His son said it was natural causes. He had cancer in the past. Welcome into Wake Up Columbia. Stephanie Bell has the day off. There is Brian Hauswirth.
It's great to see you, and welcome back, by the way.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for handling things while I was gone. I was excited to see another home state boy, our homeboy, Joe Buck. He's leaving Fox after a lot of years. Go to do Monday Night Football on ESPN. That's hard to fathom.
Yeah, it is, and I'm surprised by that. People, and you and I grew up in St. Louis, obviously. Both met his father, and he, of course, has ties to St. Louis. But Joe spent a little time here in Columbia as well. He did the color commentary. It was very brief. I want to say it was 1992. There was a transition there. Tom Dorr had taken the job with the Bulls, so I believe he was Mike Kelly's color commentator for one season, 1992. But to me, when I think of Sunday afternoons, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Green Bay Packers are usually a big game. I think of him in Aikman in the booth. I don't think of him with Monday Night Football, so it's going to be a little different. And I don't know what kind of impact that would have on his baseball duties at Fox either. I don't know. I haven't had a chance to read that, but that is interesting to me.
5-year contract, $75 million. Wow. Not too shabby for a kid from Missouri. Hannah, the producer, is here.
Good morning. My
name is Branden Rathert. If there's something we can do for you, 874-9390, you can watch the show by going to our YouTube channel. Go to YouTube, search 93.9 The Eagle. And see, I don't get this. I mean, it was... Darren says Joe Buck sucks. Joe Buck has people either love him or hate him, and I don't get the hate. I think he does fine work.
I'm with you, and but I do have to say one thing. When I hear that number about $75 million, and this, I think nothing but think the world of him. The first thing I think of. Can you imagine how many news reporters we could hire with that kind of money? And we just keep cutting back as a, and I'm talking about the news business, I'm not talking about Zimmer, just in general. So, and we've seen so many cutbacks, and we have these 1,000 watt lifers, I call them, and that is a compliment. These guys and women have dedicated their lives to these small rural towns, so it's hard for me to hear that. That said, he's the one that got the money, and good for him. But I do agree with you. I don't understand the hate sometimes that I see towards Joe. No matter what game he's doing, it could be the Cowboys and the Eagles, it could be the Mets, and let's just say the Phillies. If you look at his Twitter page, half the people are saying he's rooting for the other team. The other half are saying, I mean, it doesn't matter what. Same thing with Brad Nessler and Gary Danielson on CBS. And that, to me, actually, as a broadcaster, and Brandon, you know this, that to me tells me he's doing his job. It's
like being a politician.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. It really is. It is interesting, but I don't understand the hate towards him. I think he's talented, and but it's just going to be different seeing him on ESPN.
So, see, that's how bad gas prices are right now. Tom Brady having to come out of retirement, pay for gas. Joe Buck having to change employers so he can go and make $75 million. He's having to change after being at Fox forever now because of gas prices. He's having to go and work at ESPN so he can get a little bit more money in his bank account. Welcome into the show. Glad you could be here. We're less than a month away from the municipal election. One of the, and then there were 4. There's now 4 mayoral candidates. One of them has dropped out. We're going to be chatting with this individual here in like a minute or so. Some of the other things we're going to be voting for in this municipal election, these use taxes.
Yeah, exactly. And Brandon, I waited on this press conference I covered on Thursday. I wanted to wait until Monday because of the bad weather on Friday, and I didn't want the story to be lost. But I interviewed Mr. Liu. By the way, his cousin is Tyronn Liu, who's the coach of the Clippers, finance director there in Matthew Liu at the city. And I asked him about this, and he understood where I was coming from. And the reason I ask about it is we have a Columbia and a Boone County use tax, and both of them are Proposition 1. One is County of Boone, State of Missouri, Proposition 1. One is City of Columbia Special Election, Proposition 1. And for the folks in Ashland, they're going to see the same thing. So you will be voting, if you live in Ashland and Columbia, you will be voting twice on use tax issues, one for the city, either Ashland or Columbia, and one for the county. Essentially, it is basically the same ballot measure, but in a different area. So those are huge. You've got the Columbia School Board, you've got the mayoral race, and then the person you're talking about that's dropped out, Maria, her name is still going to be on the ballot. It's actually going to remain on the ballot.
Well, let's ask her why. Maria Orapayo joining us on the show now, and I'm sure I've still got the enunciation.
Yes.
of your last name wrong. But I loved the first time we met, you said, because I tried it, or Apollo, or Apollo, or Apayo. And you said, Branden, it's pronounced Buttigieg. So how come you're getting out of the mayoral race?
Hi, Branden. Good to see you. First of all, I have to say I'm with you on Joe Buck. As a avid baseball and football fan, I especially appreciated his commentary. I felt like I could walk out of the room and still know what was going on the game because he did it so well. So I don't get the hate either. Why did I drop out of the race? Signs? Have you seen the signs around Columbia?
I have, yeah. Minshew and Lisenby for school board. Those are the signs that come to mind. Yeah,
right. They're expensive. They're hard to put up. If you are connected in the business community, you can ask your business friends if you can put a sign up in their yard. I had two small businesses who said I could, and I did put my signs up in their yard. It's expensive. It became too expensive, and I knew that I couldn't keep up financially with that, and I felt bad about spending people's $25 donations to put up signs. I get that that's part of the political campaign, but the issues matter too.
I hear you. Because when you take when you're I don't want to righteous is not the word I'm looking for, but when you're true to yourself, like you get into it and you have these ideas, and then you go, and I want to campaign for mayor, but I'm going to ask you for money, and then I'm going to take that money and spend it on a sign, and you get to where you feel weird about it, because there's some things, like here on the show, I won't talk about, because in good conscience, I can't fake outrage. I can't fake things that I'm upset about, and I won't do it, because I'm true to myself, so I get that. But you got to be bummed out, because I know you were passionate about this, and to have something like money stop you. When you finally came to that decision, how did your heart feel, Maria?
It was sad. I was sad. The hardest part for me was having to call the people who did make donations and say, "Look, guys, I'm done. I can't continue to do this." It has been interesting. A couple of other people who hadn't donated called me over the weekend and promised me $1,000 checks, several $1,000 checks, if I would just stay in the race. And I think. It was a matter of people not understanding that that's really what it takes. Yeah. It takes $1,000 checks. My count, I'm still adding it up, because several more $25 donations came in on Saturday and on Sunday. Maybe people hadn't heard the announcement yet.
Are you going to pull a Tom Brady?
No, I can't.
Are you going to drop out of the race and then get back in?
No, even though he's my favorite quarterback, no, I cannot. I've been a Patriots fan for 40 years. Can't do that.
Maria Arpaio joining us on the show. She was running for mayor. She's dropped out. Says basically it's money. That's the big deciding factor. And I think I've seen that, whether you're talking about people like Marco. I knew Marco Rubio before he ever was in the U.S. Senate. And I remember we sat at a place in Pensacola, Florida, called the Coffee Cup, and we hung out for like 2 hours because nobody else knew who Marco Rubio was, and nobody else from the media showed up to talk to this guy. And we talked for like 2 hours. But he was this young, bright-eyed, bushy-tail, I'm going to go to D.C. and I'm going to do this. And as I've seen, at least in my experience, so many people get into politics, they really do want to do something good. And you get into that front door and you're in the arena and you see how big these wheels are that turn in the game of politics. And it can be an eye-opening event, Maria.
Sure it has. Sure it has. And it wasn't. That's recent. That people weren't raising this kind of money for 3 elections ago. So in Columbia. So this is new. It is now a new ball game here. And as sad as I am for myself personally, I hope people wake up and see that, because we're no longer that small town where a $12,000-$15,000 budget can get you out in front of public. So there's a good and a bad side to this, and I'm happy with my decision for myself personally.
Hey, Maria, I've just got one question. I appreciate you calling in and giving us a report very much. You are still on the ballot. I have the official sample ballot right now, and you're still on there. Hypothetically, what happens if in a five-way race on April the 5th, if you come out on top? What happens if you, what would you do?
Actually, the way to get off the ballot was to make this decision on January 11th. And obviously, on January 11th, we were just getting started.
Sure.
So there's no way to do that. Secondly, I'm putting into action today, pulling out from the race officially, so that my name being on the ballot doesn't mean anything, and people who vote for me are basically throwing away their votes. So the committee is shutting down. But I do have to make a phone call to Brianna Lennon, a county clerk, and ask her what happens to those votes. We are going to be sending out information. We're going to be talking about how I'm no longer in the race, and for people to make a decision on the issues, how it affects them, and who best represents those issues. So that's the best I can do, Brandon. It's really hard because of the time lag. January 11th was the date that I could have removed my name from the ballot, and I didn't. At that point, I was getting some good support. So
the only thing I would add on that, if you, Branden and Maria, if you guys find out from Brianna what the status is, because my understanding of the law, and I don't think we've seen anything quite like this, I do believe your votes would count. When you say they'd be
you may have to become mayor whether you like it or not, Maria. Maria or Apollo? She was one of the 5 mayoral candidates in Columbia. She's dropped out. It's money. Can you hang out for a few more minutes?
Sure.
All right, because I got some other stuff locally I want to ask you about, Maria.
Okay.
Or Apollo, very cool, is going to hang out with us, and here's the questions I want to ask her. I'm going to ask her, has anybody come forward and asked her for her endorsement in the race? Maybe we'll ask about some other stuff, too. About 60,000 miles, I think. My math might be off. But like 60,000 miles, they've been knowing my car, and I love this because I have a car. I don't want to get rid of it. I love not having a car payment, and I have this trust with Gap's Automotive Repair Shop. And I'm not saying I distrust other mechanics. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying I'm just really comfortable with the relationship that we have. They say, hey, you have this going on, and I don't ever doubt it because I don't know a lot about cars. You could be telling me anything, and I'd believe you. But I don't worry about that with Gap's Automotive Repair Shop. And the other thing that I really love, think about this, like you have a family doctor. Same doctor sees you over the years. And if I take my car to a really big place, chances are it's going to be a different mechanic this time compared to last time. But when I take it to Gap's Automotive Repair Shop, same folks. It's a small local repair shop. Same people been working on that thing. And I love that. I think you will love them too. Check them out. Gap's Automotive Repair Shop. They're on Vandiver in Columbia and in Boonville.
93.9 The Eagle presents Wake Up Columbia with this dude over here.
I don't know what the hell I'm doing up in here.
Whatever. 93.9 The Eagle.
Man Show coming up this Saturday. If you get onto our website, 93.9 The Eagle, tickets only $15. Holiday Inn Expo Center, 10 to 3. This Saturday, Hannah and I will be there. There's a beard competition, food and drinks, live music, motorcycles, tractors. It's a blast. This is a good time. Every year we have been doing this. It's brought to you by Shepherd's Distributing, Side and Stricker Nobi, at Doolittle Trailers. Also, Royal Power Sports of Columbia and I-70 Towing and Recovering. Going to be there. More info on our website, 939theeagle.com. Maria Orapollo was one of 5 mayoral candidates in the city of Columbia. She announced she was going to be dropping out of the race. Mostly it's because it's money. I want to go back to something we said while we were chatting a few minutes ago, Maria. You said after people found out that you didn't have a lot of money, people came forward and said, with thousands of dollars, and said, we want you to stay in the race. So is what I hear is people are bribing you to stay in the race. Is that that's the headline, Maria. Local candidate bribe.
You got it. It was interesting, though, wasn't it?
Yeah. But let me ask you this. Has anybody yet from the field of the remaining 4 candidates, has anybody, whether it be Minshew, Seaman, Tanya, Heath, Barbara Buffalo, has anybody come forward and said, hey, I would like to have your support?
Yes.
Can you...
2, and we're having discussions because for me, honestly, Branden, there are a couple of big issues that propelled me into the race and are keeping me focused on who is best going to bring those things forward. And there are a couple of conversations going on. Some people are meeting with me personally and meeting with my supporters, and I'm very appreciative of that. With a little over 20 days left to go in the election, if I'm going to make an endorsement, it's going to be probably after the forums this week, after people start speaking more directly to the issues to get votes. I hope that whoever I support wins, because that means that's the person that most closely aligns with where I think the mayor's job is and what it means to represent the city. Was that a vague enough answer for you?
Yeah, but I was going to say, if I can guess the 2 who that you're liking, would you tell me if I guessed correctly?
I think it would be unfair to everybody else.
Okay.
I promise I'll call you. I'll text you when it happens. But again, people need to be paying attention. Having the most money means you get your name out there. That shouldn't be the only determining factor. It really is that person going to represent you and represent our city, which is one of the big. The ribbon cutting part of being a mayor, but is that mayor going to lead council in financial responsibility, accountability, all of the issues that I keep talking about? These are important things.
All right. Maria Orapollo, I got to get going here. Hey, thank you. One of the things I've always appreciated about you is I think politically there are very few things that we agree on, but we can still be friends. You get what we do, and I get what you do. I get your passion behind what you do. Maria Orapollo who's dropped out of the Columbia mayoral race. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us.
My pleasure, Branden, as always.
All right, and I love that. We asked you, how'd you feel? And it hurt, because she really believes in this stuff, but money. Hey, we were talking about homeboy Joe Buck. He's moving to ESPN for Monday Night Football, and I don't understand why people don't like him. One of our listeners has put forward a very thorough list of 5 reasons not to like Joe Buck. We'll do that at 8:10.
Russia's continuing to close in on Ukraine's capital. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
The shelling is getting closer and closer to Kyiv. In the past few moments, we've heard heavier explosions in the distance.
Fox's Trey Ingston, the capital where an apartment building was hit today, killing 2 people.
We're also getting new images today out of the town of Irpin, where that American journalist was killed. The drone footage shows the Ukrainians firing on Russian forces inside the city. Those Russian troops now control at least 30% of Irpin, and the mayor of Irpin says 1/6 of the residents do remain there.
There are more talks today between Russia and Ukraine in an attempt to set up new humanitarian corridors for civilians to flee, but Russian attacks have closed those numerous times before. Nearly 3 million people have fled the country. Fox's Alex Hogan is at a border village in Poland.
This massive warehouse behind me was empty just a couple of weeks ago, and now it is filled with beds one after another, but there's simply not enough space.
COVID's on the rise in China, where some cities are on lockdown with the worst outbreak there in 2 years. Here in the U.S., COVID cases have declined 7 weeks in a row, but Pfizer's CEO says we may need another booster, wanting authorization for a 4th COVID vaccine dose. Albert Bourla tells CBS Face the Nation the first booster
is not that good against infections, but doesn't last very long.
Chicago is the latest city ready to enforce a vaccine mandate. Fox's Jeff Manasso has a live update.
Today, all city employees in Chicago have to get the shots or they're no longer getting paid under Mayor Lori Lightfoot's order that she calls necessary, though an order that others call the real danger.
This mandate to fire thousands of workers, including police officers, in the middle of a public safety crisis is equivalent to bringing gasoline to a house fire.
Chicago Democrat Silvana Taveras, one of 12 aldermen, begging the mayor to reconsider, though Lightfoot doubling down and threatening termination. Dave.
Now, Jeff, the big story out of the NFL, Tom Brady is unretiring. He'll be back for a 23rd season next year with Tampa Bay. America's listening to Fox News.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation broke ground on its Do Good Village in Land O'Lakes, Florida. It's the first of its kind, a community of 110 homes for the foundation's program recipients. So together, families can heal. A special place where families know that their neighbors understand and care. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. T2T.org. That's T, the number 2, T.org.
Is your current home loan the right fit for you? Near historically low rates combined with rising home values means that you could have more home equity than you might imagine. And if you're considering a refi, an expertly chosen loan from Loan Depot could save you thousands. Ask about our smart term loans, cash out, and over 300 loan options to find just the right mortgage loan for you. Call now, 866-888-LOAN, or go to LoanDepot.com. Loan Depot, where home means everything. Rates are subject to change. Equal Housing Opportunity Lender. NMLS number 174457. Licensed in all 50 states.
.93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 8:03. We're expecting a beautiful day here in mid-Missouri. Going to be much nicer than what we've seen about the last week where it's been cold and snowy. Not going to see that today. It's going to be cloudy later in the afternoon, but no rain in the forecast. Today, our high 65. Tonight, a slight chance of rain, very slight overnight, low near 45. Tomorrow, sunny. Another beautiful day with a high of 65 degrees. Right now, 43 in Columbia. It's 42 in Jefferson City. Good morning, everyone. Here's some of the stories we are working on for you at this hour. A 22-year-old man is hospitalized with a gunshot wound this morning after being shot by an apparent burglar. It happened early Sunday, the 1300 block of Godis near Clark Lane. That's in northeast Columbia. ABC 17's Ben Fine reports no arrests have been made.
It did look like they were searching for someone here at this house. As I said, they're using police dogs searching around this area and kind of this street for what appeared to be a suspect.
That's ABC 17's Ben Fine reporting from the scene from Godis Drive. Again, that runs parallel, if you will, to Clark Lane. No arrests been made, and police do not have a suspect description. If you have any information on the suspect, you're urged to call Crime Stoppers 573-875-TIPS. That is the number to call. Meantime, MU Health is building a state-of-the-art primary care facility in Boonville, a town in Cooper County that lost its hospital 2 years ago. MU Healthcare Chief Executive Officer Jonathan Curtright says the facility will have therapy, imaging, family medicine, and other key areas.
It's going to have an outstanding urgent care center. So if you have a traumatic event, or if you need
general medicine, general primary care services, general imaging, lab work, that sort of thing, you're going to be able to get that care right there close to home.
Mr. Kurt Wright appeared this weekend on 93.9 The Eagle's CEO Roundtable. You can hear the full interview on our website, 939theeagle.com. Boonville's Pinnacle Regional Hospital, you'll recall, closed in 2020, and Kurt Wright says that we have to rethink the healthcare model in many of the rural communities. In other news, at this hour, supporters of an April use tax ballot measure in Boone County say Boone is the last county among its contiguous counties to approve a use tax.
Boone County voters will cast ballots on Proposition 1 in April. Audrain, Callaway, Cole, Cooper, Howard, Montauk, and Randolph counties already have a use tax, which is a sales tax on online sales. If the measure fails, Proposition 1 supporters say local stores in Boone County will continue to lose business to online retailers, impacting the local economy and job market. Businessman Dave Griggs, a former county commissioner, chairs the Boone County Yes on Prop 1 committee. Don Luzader, 93.9 The Eagle.
And just to remind listeners, we've mentioned this all morning, but if you live in Columbia and or Ashland, you're going to be voting twice on the issue of the use tax. Columbia and Ashland have their separate issues on the ballot in April, and then Boone County will have theirs as well. Columbia and Boone County's use tax is named Proposition 1, so that may be a little confusing. We did ask the Columbia Finance Director, Matthew Liu, about that, and he says that he and others have been speaking to various clubs, getting the message out that they'll be voting twice in April. So you will be voting twice on this. Use tax supporters say Columbia needs the revenue stream for vital city services like public safety and roads. More than 220 Missouri towns currently have a use tax, including Boonville, Fulton, and Sturgeon. And Columbia School Board meets tonight. They'll hear a detailed report about the Boone County Nature School at their meeting this evening. CPS says it values the continued partnership with the Missouri Department of Conservation. They're committed to supporting the Nature School. They have a 10-page presentation. I've linked to that presentation. You can see it in its entirety. There's photos, some history there. Hank Waters, Henry J. Waters III is mentioned in there. He and Vicky donated the land for this school. All that on our website, 939theeagle.com. Our news is brought to you this hour by the folks at Club Car Wash. Get an unlimited membership for just $20 a month. ClubCarWash.com. Find a location near you. Our news time, 8:07. In sports, Mizzou's athletic director announcing that Coach Martin will not be returning as the head basketball coach this fall. Desiree Reed-Francois says Coach Martin represented MU with a high level of class and dignity, and she also describes him as a man of high character. Coach Martin in 5 years at Mizzou, 78-77. Mizzou 12-21 this year. Coach Martin's team making the NCAA tournament twice in those 5 years. Mizzou women's hoops team did not make the NCAA tournament. They began red hot, 13-2, finished the year though 18-12. Overall, had that very tough loss to Arkansas in the SEC tournament. Mizzou baseball team beating Arizona State Sunday night in Phoenix, 6-4, the final score there. Our sports is brought to you this hour by the Callaway Bank. The Callaway Bank has a dedicated customer care team. You can call them or text them 7 days a week. They're with you for the moments that matter. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 8:08. All right, thanks so much, Kevin. Great job this morning on television and radio. Sunshine 43. And our traffic check is with MidmoHires.com. Local companies looking for local people. Visit MidmoHires.com to find a job or post your job opening today. Roads have been pretty quiet in mid-Missouri. If you want to report a traffic issue, you can call or text us at 874-9390, area code 573. More team coverage in less than 30 minutes. Breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
If you drive an electric car, this would not be affecting you, clearly.
There's no sound or fume.
Electric school buses.
Electric school buses that have big batteries underneath it.
Yes, we are very excited about electric school buses.
Yeah, some prices are as high as $7 a gallon.
You usually can smell it and you can hear it. You can hear the guzzling sound.
People from rural to suburban to urban communities can all benefit from the gas savings of driving an EV.
Yeah, but nobody wants them. This thing that's happening in the invasion of Ukraine seems to be the progressives. Hey, here's our cue. We're going to start marketing electric vehicles. So you have this country, or in Kamala's words, you have this big European country that invaded a smaller European country. And that's bad. It's like this is a marketing opportunity. I'm going to tell a story. I've never told this before, and I pray that former coworkers of mine and former management in Pensacola, Florida, are not listening this morning.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to give you a little inside information about radio stations in general. Please don't repeat this to anybody.
It's good.
So,
I'm nervous.
Whenever radio stations, whenever they go into their ratings period, they'll usually do some contests. They'll give away a bunch of money on the radio shows or whatever, so people will listen, and obviously it'll benefit the radio station and the ratings. So, Pensacola, Florida, I don't know, it was like 2011, 2012. And it was Tropical Storm Ida had rolled up on the shores of Pensacola, Florida. Fortunately, very last minute, it kind of veered to the left and went over towards Mobile, Alabama instead. But I remember
well, not fortunately for Mobile, Alabama.
Yeah, it kind of sucked for those people, but we were golden. But we were asking, hey, what are we going to do for promotion for this latest ratings period? And the owner kept saying, well, we'll see, or we don't know. We're a news talk. And news talk stations typically they do that. Well, then we got word of Tropical Storm Ida, and that gave us ammunition for about a good 4 or 5 days. So that was the spring promotion for the spring ratings. Tropical Storm Ida. And we're like, what? Like, yeah, this is what we're in effect running on. If we were in office running for, we're going to run on Tropical Storm Ida. That's the spring promotion. This thing that could eventually turn into a hurricane and wreak havoc on people's lives. But the guy was brilliant in marketing. Owned his own radio stations. Had grown up in marketing throughout the years. The guy was brilliant at marketing. He took this Tropical Storm Ida along the Gulf Coast, and he made it into a promotion. I think that's what the progressives are doing with Ukraine right now. Hey, here's a good opportunity to sell some more electric vehicles. In fact, our news partners at ABC 17, talking to local folks. And this... And listen, I here's my thing on electric cars. I hear it gets misconstrued quite often. Oh, yeah, Brandon's a big fan of electric cars. No, I ain't.
Who said that?
I don't know. I hear it all the time. Oh, you're a big fan of electric. Who told you? Well, you're talking about how they're going to be a thing. Yeah, it doesn't mean I'm a fan of them. I'm just trying to speak to a point of fact. And the facts are people would laugh when the Wright brothers talked about flying an airplane. People were like, flight, that's only reserved for God. And then when there was talk, we're going to go to outer space. No, you can't. It can't be done. There's no mainstream way that humans can fly. Well, they did in 1903, and shortly after that, it was nothing for people to fly commercially. So as a point of fact, that's what I point to. Look at those things that said, oh, we can't do that. We can't go to the moon. We can't fly airplanes. We do that, don't give a second thought to it. So I say, don't dismiss electric vehicles. They'll find a way, and I know what the shortcomings are. Believe me, listen, that new Hummer H3 is out there, the electric Hummer.
Are you still on this?
There's 2 reasons I won't buy that thing. Number 1, it's electric.
And?
It cost $112,000, but mostly because it's electric.
That's is that it? 112?
Yeah, 112, that's...
You can afford that on your salary, right?
It's the fact that it's electric. I won't buy it. Because I don't like electric vehicles.
Now, my boyfriend and I were having a conversation the other night about, what our next vehicle might be a couple years down the road. And we were genuinely considering maybe a hybrid vehicle.
Yeah, I could do hybrid.
Yeah, I could get behind hybrids before I could get behind a fully electric vehicle, but we were like, we're going to be renting for a few more years at least, and are we going to be able to charge an electric vehicle at a rental property? So these are things that we're going to have to look out for.
Because you don't want to have to go knocking on the door of the people who live towards the front of the building with an extension cord. Hey, can you put this through your window? We can't reach up to our place.
Well, and honestly, in our area, there's not a ton of electric vehicle charging stations just yet. So unless those become a little more abundant, it could be a while.
It's a great point and Hannah's absolutely correct about that. There's at least one or two in Kingdom City that some of the agricultural groups have been involved in, and some of the petroleum folks, but not very many. And that is something that we'll have to keep an eye on.
I have a friend, and I think Hannah knows this guy, but he's owned his own business for a lot of years. Tried and true farm boy, does all of his own stuff. Drives diesel trucks for his business and all that, and he's several years ago got a Toyota Prius, the hybrid, I guess. And is it mostly just they turn off, the engine turns off when you're at a red light? Is that
what, a hybrid?
Yeah.
No, a hybrid is electric and it has a gas tank.
Mm-hmm.
So when your battery runs out, it starts running on that gas tank.
Oh, okay. But isn't that the one that too, your engine just automatically shuts off when you come to a stop? I thought. Is that the
lots
hybrid?
of newer cars do that?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This guy, probably more conservative than I am, and he hunts his own dinner every night. The guy's been eating rabbit stew for 7 years. He bought a Toyota Prius a couple of years ago because, as a conservative, he also had good sense to do the right thing financially, and by his business, it was the right thing to get a Toyota Prius that he would drive around in. He kept the trucks for the serious work he was doing, and this guy loves it. But if I'm stereotyping, this is not the guy that you see in a Toyota Prius.
I never in a million years would have guessed.
No, and this guy, and he loves it, and he's had several of them. But this, I didn't know. Our news partners at ABC 17 talking to some local folks regarding gas prices.
I buy gas maybe once a month, so I still have the flexibility to drive wherever, but I don't have to run on gas most of the time. Throw a couple of solar panels on your roof, and you charge it for free, and you really can't beat that.
And I don't know what she's saying here. Is she talking about you throw some solar panels on the roof of your car?
I'm guessing on the roof of her house.
And then she's plugging the car into a dedicated power outsource for the solar panels on the house.
If I had to guess, I would say that's probably what she meant.
That's what I'm thinking.
Did you think that she meant putting the solar panels on the car?
Yeah, that's what I thought. Maybe that's a new thing. One of the things that one of the big three car companies has tried doing, because the biggest thing with electric cars, and I'm not here to argue for or against electric cars. Like I said, I don't want the Hummer. I would love to have that new Hummer, but it's electric, and it cost $112,000. One of the technologies being researched right now is, remember when we were kids and we had those racetracks, and you had the trigger, and the button, and you had to put the slot of the car had to fit right on that track because it was run by electric. They're doing that on some roads in Michigan, on a test track in Michigan. I don't know if the cars are slotted or not, but the idea is with some phones, you can get a battery that doesn't plug into the battery, but if it's in the area of the battery, it will charge. So they're trying that same technology on cars now. Saying, well, if there's a dedicated power, and I don't know how any of this will work out, and frankly, I don't care. I'm going to drive the car that I have, and that's the car I will continue to drive. But I thought, is that a new thing? Solar panel on the roofs of cars? No?
Not that I know of. I could, totally eat my words, but I am not familiar with that technology.
I had not heard of it either.
Speaking of your car, though, have you been through any car washes lately?
No. A couple weeks ago, right as I was going through Club Car Wash, right, when you get into Club Car Wash and you get up to the thing and they're spraying your car down and you got
no escaping.
And my moonroof. This car is 16 years old. It's worked fine. All of a sudden, I kid you not, pulling up to the car wash, it will not shut. I can just
picture the panic that took place within your car.
It was like when I can't find my reading glasses. It was like, what am I going to do? What kind of clothing do I have that I can shed right now and lay on the dashboard of my car so it doesn't get soaked? 1/4 of an inch. So it was kind of that you freeze, and then I'm in the glove box. I'm getting like McDonald's paper napkins. And
I'm sure those really helped.
But there was a point of acceptance. It's like, well, this is going to happen, you know?
Yeah.
It was kind of like, the night Joe Biden won election. It was just kind of like, well, this is going to happen. I can't
This sucks.
This sucks. And it's going to suck, and I know it's going to suck. But I went through that car. I even put on my shades because I was worried about soap and wax getting into my, and this water is just pouring in through this moonroof, and it's cold, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm thinking, man, if Hannah were around here, she would have a camera on this really uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
And I just sat there with both my hands on the steering wheel with my shades on while the water dumped through my apparently a moonroof is like a specialty item that a whole lot of folks can't work on.
Lee on the Wake Up Columbia Facebook page says that he is watching us on Facebook from Club Car Wash right now. So,
Really?
Lee, I hope that your sunroof is closed.
And we appreciate the text, 874-9390, 874-9390. By the way, one of the things we were talking about, homeboy Joe Buck, man, he got paid. He got a huge contract to move from Fox over to ESPN. And he'd been with Fox Sports for 26 years. He's called almost every World Series. He's called 6 Super Bowls. His dad, obviously, longtime Cardinal, play-by-play guy, Joe Buck. He's leaving after 25 years because Troy Aikman is already his booth partner. He's already moved to ESPN. And I don't understand why people like to hate on Joe Buck. One of our listeners has come up with a list of 5 solid reasons to not like.
Wow.
Wake Up Columbia with Branden Rathert. Inspired and on fire. 93.9 The Eagle.
Been doing some research over the past few minutes. Apparently, there are solar panels for cars. Yeah.
That attach to cars?
Yeah. This is just one article I'm looking at. This is from December of 2021 from marketplace.org. And it's a solar panel you put on the roof of a car. And check this out. Here's what it does. So you do it on already an electric vehicle, and it can increase the range of that car, because that's the other big thing. Range. I don't want to have to park my car overnight to be able to drive 315 miles and then hope at the end of that 315 miles, maybe there's a plug-in somewhere so a brother can get his car charged up.
So it doesn't necessarily, recharge the whole battery, but it could kind of help with your mileage? Is that what it is?
It will add up to 2 miles per day.
Woo!
Woo! They're stretching now.
How much are those expensive solar panels? Do they pay for themselves?
And listen, it increases the gas range up to 2 miles per day. So after 37 years of daily use, it will have paid for itself.
Wow.
I hope Gary.
What a deal.
I know. Gary Nolan, I hope he gets a hold of this. Gary Nolan show coming up at 9 o'clock this morning on 93.9 The Eagle. Him and Brian usually have a good time with this. Joe Buck from St. Louis, spent a short time working actually here in Columbia, probably the at least top 3 sportscasters in the business right now. Got a huge payday to leave Fox. He's going to ESPN to work specifically Monday Night Football. He's going to get paid about $15 million per year to do that one thing 17 times a year. He's going to call a football game on Monday nights 17 times a year, maybe more. He's going to be paid almost $1 million per appearance. Every time he climbs into the booth, he's going to, here's $1 million. Here's $1 million. So I don't understand why people don't like him. They love to hate on him. I think he does. Not that I get real passionate about my sportscasters. You know, I love the work of Brad Trinaga with the Mizzou women's basketball team, but Joe Buck does fine, and I don't get why he gets so much hate. So somebody says Joe Buck sucks, and I said, how come? Within minutes, a matter of minutes, he sent a list of 5 reasons.
He was ready.
He wears the stupid gay man beard. He is annoying to listen to. He comes across as arrogant. He acts like he is the smartest person in the business. Those first 4, maybe he does come across as arrogant.
Other than a beard, I could have sworn we'd be talking about Branden Rathert.
He acts like the smartest person in the business. Comes across as arrogant. Dear God, please don't tell me I come across. Because that's the
now I'm going to make you paranoid.
Yeah, because that's the last thing I am. And he is as annoying as his father, like fingernails on a chalkboard. Hopefully he's not talking about me, and he is talking about Joe Buck.
Well, you don't have a beard, so you're safe.
I'm safe on that one. Coming up here on 93.9 The Eagle, there's an event happening in town tonight that I want to turn you on to. If you're interested in local politics, you should be doing this right now. I have your ABC 17 storm track forecast. It's beautiful right now. We are going to have some clouds moving into town today, but our high is going to be 65 degrees. Slight chance of rain overnight, low 45. Then tomorrow, sunshine, 65. We're not even into springtime yet, man. We're looking good. Wednesday, sunny, high 70. Right now, it's 45. Stop by Club Car Wash today. Get an unlimited membership, only $20 a month. More details at clubcarwash.com.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. Ukrainian and Russian officials are holding a 4th round of talks today. A Russian airstrikes hit a military base in Ukraine used for training with American troops just last month.
It's a significant target because it is so close to the Polish border. We just see the Russians expanding their strikes further west. Another tragic update, the pregnant mother being carried out of a hospital that was bombed in Mariupol, that southern Ukrainian city, has passed away.
Fox's Trey Yingst. Police in New York City and Washington, D.C. suspect the same man of shooting 6 homeless men, killing 3.
3 homeless men were shot in D.C. earlier this month. 1 died from his wounds. 3 men in Manhattan were found shot this weekend. 2 of them died. Police have published images of the suspect taken by a security camera wearing what appears to be a blue surgical glove on the same hand firing the gun.
Fox's Eben Brown, the mayors of both cities, are encouraging homeless people to get into shelters. America's listening to Fox News.
And now award-winning local news coverage with Brian Hauswirth on 93.9 The Eagle.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It's going to be a beautiful Monday today, a back-to-work Monday. We're expecting a high today of around 65. Rain tonight, slight chance of rain. Low near 45, certainly nothing severe. Tomorrow, sunny and a high of 65. 44 right now in Columbia. Good morning, everyone. Here's some of the stories we're working on. Construction continues on a $232 million new children's hospital and tower project in Columbia. MU Healthcare says the new hospital will help their system integrate to create one centralized location for all hospital services. MU Healthcare Chief Executive Officer Jonathan Curtright says the aging building on Keene will serve as a bridge once the new children's hospital opens in 2024.
Over the next, I'd say 5 to 7 years, that facility will be a pop-off valve where we can either, if we're building a smaller building or building a clinic, or if we grow beyond some of our surgical ORs, we will use that as a place where we can pop off and provide a great care.
An OR is an operating room. The building on Keene is located near I-70 and 63. It was built in 1973. You can hear the full interview with Mr. Curtright, Fred Perry, our website, 939theeagle.com. Meantime, construction set to begin on the Boone County Nature School this summer. Columbia School Board will hear a detailed presentation on the project status tonight. Columbia voters cast ballots in April on a local use tax ballot measure. A man being treated in an area hospital. He was shot by a burglar early Sunday. Go to Strive, Northeast Columbia. Our news brought to you this hour by Hemi Construction in the southwest neighborhoods of Chapel Hill Meadows, Nursery Heights, and Creek's Edge. Our news time, 8:33. In sports, the Cardinals opening their spring training schedule Friday against the Houston Astros. We don't have a game time for that one as of yet. TBD, I should say, is how it reads on the Cardinals website. That game will definitely take place, though, on Friday, and hopefully we'll get a time on that in the next day or so as the Cardinals open their spring training schedule. And Mizzou Athletics Director Desiree Reed-Francois announcing that Coach Martin will not return as the head basketball coach this fall at Mizzou. She says Coach Martin representing MU with high level of class and dignity, and he's a man of high character, she says. Martin, 78-77, 5 seasons at Mizzou. Mizzou this past year, 12-21. Our sports is brought to you this hour by the folks at Witt Print Shop. Witt Print Shop, where your printed products are so much more than ink and paper. Our news time, 8:34. Traffic check with MidmoHires.com. Local companies looking for local people. MidmoHires.com. Find a job, post your job opening today. Roads right now pretty quiet in mid-Missouri. If you do want to report a traffic issue, you can call or text us anytime, 573-874-9390. The one thing to be prepared for is it will stay lighter more in the evening than what we are being used to. It had been setting at about 6:10, 6:11, 6:12 in that ballpark, changing every day. Tonight's sunset will be at 7:15. More team coverage in less than 30 minutes. Breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
Hey parents and grandparents, as we wait to see what's next for President Trump, Mike Huckabee's education company wants to help your kids learn all about President Trump's greatest achievements during his first term. That's why we're giving away the Kids Guide to President Trump for free. This fun kids guide will help your kids to understand everything President Trump has already accomplished for America. What's more, it's part of a very special gift bundle that includes a free kids magazine and a free video lesson too. To learn more and order this free gift bundle, just visit freetrumpguide.com. That's freetrumpguide.com.
Freetrumpguide.com. That commercial was on Fox over the weekend. So Mike Huckabee's education company is doing that. I can imagine if we were doing this for anybody, people would say, is what you're doing there, that's indoctrination. You're trying to play on kids and get the... Well, it's on Fox. If parents want to get that for their kids, they can get it for their kids. Welcome into the show. This is Wake Up Columbia. There's Mr. Brian Hauswirth.
It's great to see you, Branden, and welcome back. I'm glad to hear that. Glad to have you back on the seat.
You know what I did? Like nothing. And it was beautiful.
Sometimes that's the best thing.
Like, I bet I could have easily put on 7 to 9 pounds.
Wow.
Because, like, I was supposed to go to Idaho, then I was going to do this, didn't do any of that. Joe Biden. Stayed home, watched TV, and ate silly amounts of food.
Did you get another whole ice cream cake?
No, I did not get the whole ice cream cake, but here's what I would do. I would get 1 pint of ice cream, and then I said, well, I might want more later, so I'll go ahead and get 2. And I never wanted to, but then I had to, and you had to do both. That is Hannah, the producer.
What up?
My name is Branden Rathert. If there's something we could do for you, 874-9390. 874-9390. So this is happening tonight. Missouri Faith Voices is hosting a candidate forum for the mayoral candidates in Columbia, Housing Justice Candidate Forum. You'll be able to go to the event. It's also... it's online. It's happening at Turning Point. So there'll be 4, obviously. Maria or Apollo, she has dropped out of the race. She was on the show earlier, and it was interesting because I like how she made it more specific and more real. It's not just because a lot of times candidates drop out, whatever race, it's money. We just don't have the money to move forward. She got very specific about those signs that we see on the business loop, that we see everywhere, these local signs and how much they cost and how... It was just a challenge for her to do.
Yeah, I appreciate the interview. I'm glad you had her on there, Branden. And obviously she was very, I'm not going to say emotional. It wasn't emotional, but you could tell just very genuine that she feels like it's got to, her perspective, I think, is that these campaigns in Columbia are not what they used to even 3-4 election cycles ago. And these signs, she's saying, can cost $1,000, in some cases more, sometimes less, and that a lot of the money is going to that. And she said that after she had announced that she was going to drop out, 2 people offered $1,000 checks, 2 or 3, I think she said, but she just thinks it's too expensive. So I appreciate her. She was always came on with us, and again, I will stand corrected on this. Hopefully, we can get Brianna Lennon on at some point. But as far as I know, and I'm not an attorney, any votes that go to her because she stays on the ballot would go to her, even though she dropped out because it's too late.
So she would have to become mayor whether she wanted to or not.
Well,
because her name is still on the ballot.
Then we'd have a situation where she. Yeah, but literally, I think those votes would go to her. But I appreciate her coming on. I think her comments were pretty powerful.
Yeah, I just thought it was because she. Listen, people get into this stuff and they do it because they want to serve their community, is what I would like to believe, especially in some of these smaller local offices. And she really wants to do stuff, but that's something I would like to look into. Last year, one of my friends who ran for school board race, I was shocked at the amount of money that they spent to be on a school board, which has, I don't even think being a school board, I don't even think there's a stipend. If you're on the city council and the mayor, you at least get some stipend money. But I don't even think that. And the money that is spent, it was like over $25,000, over $20,000, maybe $25,000 last time I had checked in on that campaign for school board.
Yeah.
For school board. And so to hear Maria say, man, the game of politics when it comes to money in this area has changed. And I have no idea what these people are investing in their campaigns today, whether it's the mayoral race, city council, or school board race.
It's a lot of money. And the other thing is there is a bill that will probably be taken up in the Missouri. They're on legislatures on spring break this week. That there'll be a bill that will be taken up most likely after they return next week or sometime. Phil Cristofanelli's bill that would move the school board races specifically from April to November. And supporters say that it is the supporters of that bill say it's the teachers' unions that are driving the turnout in these April elections. And they, I mean, you look at the testimony online, that's what the supporters say. The opponents say that this is wrong, et cetera. So we'll see what happens.
One of the things that I gathered last year is the teachers' union, they have their picks who they want to be on the school board. They want to control the school board. Look at the current school board makeup. I think, if my memory serves me correctly, every single member on the school board has been endorsed. They were endorsed by the teachers' union. That's scary. When you think about what these teachers' unions, by the way, don't let that be a wholesale indictment against all the teachers in the Columbia Public School District. I was at that event a couple of weeks ago for Andrea Lisenby and Adam Burks, both running for school board. By the way, those are the two people I would vote for. Mayor of Columbia, it would be Randy Minshew is who I would vote for. The school board, the school board lobby, or excuse me, the education lobby last year, teacher lobby, apparently they, and I don't know exactly how it works, but what I was told is they pick out the candidates they like, and then they go to other teachers and in effect pay them to go door to door and campaign on their behalf with like gift cards and things like that, which I don't think there's anything illegal, but it just gives you an idea of when they want their candidate, they've got their candidate, they know who they want in there. 874-9390. Brent, what can I do for you this morning?
Hey, I saw a Facebook post and learned how to pay less than $1 for gas.
How do you do that?
Go to Taco Bell.
That's a Hannah special right there, Brent. Thank you for the phone call. That sounds like a joke you would tell, Hannah.
It's a good one.
It's a good one. Dave Ramsey. I don't know if you ever hear his show here on the weekends, but it's a pretty good show. He talks about your finances, and he doesn't do it like in that MSNBC ways that don't affect you. Like, here are things that you could start doing right now if you want to start saving money. He had some legitimate tips, which I thought all of these were known. Hannah, I'm going to go through these tips that Dave Ramsey left me. He's on weekends here on 93.9 The Eagle. You can check out our website for exact times. Really good show. But here's his tips, and I'm reading all these. I'm like, oh, it's Dave Ramsey. Maybe he's got something different than what I've heard. Because here's when I know it's getting bad with the gas prices. Like, I'm starting to do some of the things on this list. Like, past several days I was off, I consolidated all my errands. Like, I didn't do anything. I stayed at home on the couch. Instead of going out and going shopping or going here to pay bills or go downtown and take care of that business, I just didn't do anything. I stayed at home.
You don't pay your bills online?
I don't have any bills.
Oh.
Number one, consolidate errands.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all know that. That's one I'm actually kind of starting to do. Use cruise control on the highway. Yeah. Check tire pressure. Well, I don't do it. I have Gaps do it for me, but I know where it is.
I've got a fancy monitor system in my car that tells me when I have a flat.
Whoa. Carpool when possible. We knew these things.
There are going to be very many people wanting to carpool at 2:30 in the morning.
Well, that's the thing. All these things sound, by the way, they sound like great ideas, but a lot of these, they're just not practical. Can you carpool? I don't know. Maybe you can. I certainly couldn't. I used to ride my bike to work when I did afternoons in Florida. Do it all the time. Here, I would love to do it here, but not at 2:30 in the morning, driving down WW on my little bike with the orange flag and the bring, bring, because that won't cut it in traffic.
Put all your high-vis stuff on.
Use loyalty programs at grocery stores, warehouses, places like that. Turn the engine off. Quit idling. Turn off your car engine while you're waiting. I thought there was some, and maybe not a mathematical formula, but yeah, turning your car off is good, but only if it's going to be off for a certain amount of time, because here's what happens. If you turn your car off, so okay, I was sitting idle for 2 minutes, so I turned it off. It takes more gas to restart it as opposed to turning it off for 60 seconds. And I don't know what the math is on that. 874-93. So there's some tips from Dave Ramsey if you want to try to save money on your fuel cost. So I told you about there's an event tonight. This is a mayoral candidate forum on housing justice. This is happening tonight at Turning Point. But this is one of those things you'd be able to get online. I would check out Missouri Faith Voices to find out how you can watch it online. Missouri Faith Voices, or check out Turning Point. They might have some details there on how you'd be able to get in and watch that event virtually, because you get to see. You don't have to take my words for it, because we get text here. Hey, school board race, who am I voting for here? Because people are starting to get their ballots in the mail as well. Here's what I was telling somebody the other day. So, I've heard you endorsed Randy Minshew for mayor. And I said, I don't do endorsements. I just say who I'm voting for. And this person, they won this game. They said, well, Branden, can you explain? I said, I don't endorse people. I just say who I'm voting for. And he says, what is an endorsement, Branden? And I said, it's a public proclamation of who I'm voting for.
Oops.
So, yeah, but I knew the answer, but I was just hoping I would never be challenged on it.
Oops.
Yeah. So I don't say I'm endorsing it. It just sounds so haughty-taughty for me. It sounds bougie.
It's too much commitment, right?
Too much commitment. And not only is it commitment, but then you got to make that commitment public.
Oh, yeah.
See, there's two different things. You can be committed, but not committed publicly. You know?
Yeah.
Like, hey.
Can't keep it a secret.
Well, that enhances the value of this relationship. See? We're keeping it secret. God.
That's called a side piece.
Oh, God. Oh, so, moving forward. So here's what we're going to do before 9 o'clock. Well, where was I? Oh, endorsements. So I said, no, I don't do endorsements. I say who I'm going to vote for. And they said, well, what is the definition of endorsement? I said, publicly proclaiming who it is you're going to vote for. But that's who I would vote for on the school board. Andrea Lisenby, Adam Burks, Mayor, Randy Minshew. And then who's the guy running against Carl Scala? Roy Lovelady. I would just vote for that guy. I saw him a little bit at another candidate forum about a month ago. And I can't tell you why. He wants to do. Listen, all these politicians, they want to go in and do good things. The other thing to keep in mind, we're in Columbia. We know what most of these people wanting to get into city politics. We know where their mindset is. Probably with the exception of Randy Minshew, and also exceptions would be Andrea Lisenby and Adam Burks, which is why I'd vote for them. But it's Columbia, and that's a lot. You know how we get how we do here in Columbia. But that election less than a month away. Coming up here at 8:53, we're going to be doing some leftovers, things we didn't get to in the show. We'll do that at one call does it all. Salter Lawn Service, 70 over the next few days. Great weather this week. People thinking about, well, yard cleanup. But let's take it a step further, because and I would make those calls now. That one phone call to Salter Lawn Service, I would do it sooner rather than later, because everybody gets the same idea and they want to start, and they start booking up early. So get them called. But let's think let's think the next step out. Maybe you hire them for a summer lawn maintenance program. You know, they come to your house every 10 days, 4 times a month, mow your yard, send you a bill. They don't come and knock on your door afterwards. They handle it there, send you a bill at the end of the month. You get more free time during the summer to do what you want to do. And when it's hot and sticky outside, you don't have to be doing your lawn maintenance, because you called Salter Lawn Service to handle your summer lawn maintenance for you. That's what you should do. Salter, one call does it all.
Thanks for making Wake Up Columbia your favorite morning show. 93.9 The Eagle.
Check it out this Saturday. Come roll with us at the Man Show, the Columbia Man Show. 93.9 The Eagle. Holiday Inn Expo Center, 10 to 3 this Saturday. Here's the deal, $20 at the door. Or you can go to our website, 939theeagle.com. Get your tickets now. They're only $15. It's brought to you by Seiden Stricker Noby, Shepherd's Distributing, and Doolittle Trailers. Also, Graff & Sons. And MNMGC, also the Avidity Corporation, a manufacturing company. Some of the folks helping us out. This year, you see things from Leaf Filter, Sticky Pig, Barbecue, Mobility Worldwide. It's just a whole bunch. It's not, listen, you go to some of these trade shows and you take your little plastic bag along and they take pamphlets and stuff like that and they put them in the little, this ain't that show. It's not that show. This is like doing a show. Check it out. Hannah and I will be looking for you Saturday. Como Man Show, Holiday Inn Expo Center, 10 to 3.
Here's a big old serving of leftovers on 93.9 The Eagle. Enjoy.
All right, some of the things we didn't get to in the show this morning. Columbia Public School Board, the Columbia Public School Board meets tonight, and I do want to highlight some good things the board will recognize. Hickman High School brothers, Hayden and Hank Benter, as well as Rockbridge High School student Carter McAllister, for becoming state champions in the respective Class 4 divisions at the Wrestling State Championships. And a middle school math teacher, Cassidy Urey, she is going to be honored for getting the Presidential Award for Excellence in Mathematics and Science Teaching. And I mentioned that, unfortunately, teachers as a whole have kind of come under fire after we've learned what our kids over the past 2 years got to see what our kids were learning in classrooms. And whoa, what's all this stuff? And we know where we are today. As a matter of fact, last year's Lincoln Day banquet in Boone County, Caleb Rowden said education, education, education. That's what it's going to be about. That's what we're going to win on. I look at Youngkin in West Virginia and what happened there, or in Virginia. Education, education, education. As a matter of fact, a couple of weeks ago, I was at an event for 2 of the school board candidates, and there were some teachers there. And I did speak with one, because they're out, they're like, okay, we can speak the truth now. And the truth is, apparently, it's not just poor communication with parents. According to more than one teacher at this event a couple of weeks ago, it's communication from the administration with teachers. So I wanted to highlight some of the good things. Jefferson Middle School math teacher Cassidy Urey for getting the Presidential Award for Excellence in Math and Science Teaching. And there's probably a whole lot more teachers in the district that we should be giving kudos to, and that probably are. Or even worse yet, some of these teachers that are unlike the ones I saw at this event a couple of weeks ago. They're just like living in misery because they know at work they have to pretend that they're thinking a certain way when indeed they don't. Got to be horrible. Other leftovers here on the show. Jim Hagedorn used to be in the House. He's from Minnesota. He died several months ago. His wife is going to be running for his seat. She said his dying words were that I run and then win this seat. Rand Paul. I don't know if you had a chance to see this. Rand Paul wrote, if you will, an op-ed for Fox. He says the toll of COVID doesn't stop with the mourning of lives lost to this virus. We lost our freedoms. True. Lost our liberties, especially in Columbia. Yep. Our vibrant small-town Main Street, our children's growth and learning. And he uses that to prop up his argument for saying we should not have anybody ever in the role of Dr. Anthony Fauci again. We need to bust that up into several different things. See you back here tomorrow.